listening to the MycoGeeky Podcast, a podcast that inspires people to grow mushrooms at home to improve their mental, emotional, and physical health. Most people call him geeky, and he is a passionate mushroom cultivator, advocate, and educator. Every week, he sits down with fellow cultivators, mushroom educators, scientists, and therapists to discuss the various ways people can approach mushroom cultivation and how mushrooms can be used to improve their lives.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the MycoGeeky Podcast, the podcast that goes deep so you can level up your at-home mushroom cultivation game. That's what we're doing. We're growing mushrooms. Everybody is. Dude, I was out this weekend hanging out with some people over spring break with the kids. Everybody likes mushrooms now, dude. Everybody likes mushrooms. You guys were cool before, country was cool, or whatever that Dolly Parton, Barbara Mandrell song was. Yes. It's happening. It's good. It's fun. It's great. Are people not making as much money as they used to? Yeah, that's happening. Competition, guys. Welcome to America. Welcome to capitalism. This is this thing we think we love so much until we got to start competing and we got to start differentiating and we got to start standing out. So here we are. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Before we get into the show tonight, I had a couple cool things happen. I got to meet a guy up in Cleveland. I'd been meaning to hang out with him, and we finally did. He's a super cool guy. He forages, he does all sorts of fun stuff with mushrooms, but his daughter is quite a little artist. And he gave me some stickers that she had recently done. She does a lot of tattoo art and stuff like that, but she did these little sticker series. And I see all you guys all the time looking for someone to do your logos and stuff like that. So I thought, yeah, man, she might be the right person for somebody. So let me show you some of these stickers. How do we do this? There we go. All right. A little indigo, a little chanterelle here. There we go. I think I got to cover my face. There we go. I'm going to just show you a few of these. There we go. Anyway, she's got all sorts. Gotta hide enough of that. There we go. All right. Anyway, it's like really cool, clean, poppy, looking art. If you want to check her out, she's on Instagram, Lucy's_art hub. So LUCYS_art hub. She's just a young artist. I figure, if someone is just sick of yet another AI-driven, AI-inspired logo, then here's a chance to hire a real artist to do something unique for you. I wanted to shout her out. Also wanted to shout out Stealthy Spores. He sent me some more goodies. Needed a little extra gear, so me and Jeff Karras could play a little spore action here. Check this out, guys. It's real, man. It's like Pokemon. You got your little, right? Check it out. It's got your colonization zone. It's got your spore zone, inoculation zone, colonization zone, fruiting zone. I think this is good. This kind of helped me figure out how to play the game a little bit more. He sent me some other cool stuff. Ovoids. Oh yeah, it's about that time. Me and Happy Hyphae are gonna have to get out and find everybody some ovoids. What else we got? Oak Ridge. Check it out. My favorite cultigen right there. ODPE. Super cool. What else we got? We got ones, man, some I've never even heard of. Y'all ever heard of Naviary or Navery? There's so many. There's just so many cultigens, man. I wonder how many there really are. 1 million. And then I just resurrected a really old culture of 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞. Mine look way better than that. No offense, Stealthy Sports. That's okay. It's a cool picture anyway. But yeah, mine are looking real nice. Spent a little time working on the old land races, right? This is how it goes. It's all in cycles. One minute everybody wants to grow an ape, and everything's got to be albino. The next minute everybody wants to grow land races. We're just gonna keep playing that game back and forth for the end of time. It's fun. It's all good. Oh yeah. So speaking of Happy Hyphae, he sent me a T-shirt this week. I like it, clean. I need a hat to go along with that T-shirt, but I'll be wearing that in an upcoming episode for sure. Shout out to him. And as always, shout out to my Discord mods. You guys are the best. Michael Fruit sent me some swag I'm going to be giving away on the Discord. Hopefully I have time tomorrow to get that up, guys. So be on the lookout for that. What else? Patreon's rocking and rolling. You guys are awesome. Everybody seems to really dig getting like some little gift packs for signing up. So I appreciate the love from that. If you guys want to sign up, just go into the internet, Google Patreon, MycoGeeky, a link will come up. It's as easy as that. All right, we hit the mission statement. Shout out to MycoHolics. I got a lot of great mods on there. Not gonna lie, some people don't like the standard we're trying to uphold on there. Getting a little upset. Things getting deleted. Guys, I told you what it was. I mean, we're freaking adults here, right? Like, if you get mad that I said no to a post or somebody else said no to a post, guess what? There's 100,000 Facebook groups you could go post those pictures to. Or guess what else you can do? Start another Facebook group. Don't get mad at me. I'm not doing anything wrong here. I got every right to want to run this thing how I want to run it. At some point in time, if everybody hates it, then obviously I screwed up and made a mistake, and maybe we'll change things up. But for now, it's just not the place you go to just show off fruit. There are so many great groups you can go to. Like, for example, we're going to get to know here in a couple seconds, the guy who runs a great group, MyCOTEK, right? I'm talking about our guest tonight, Broccoli. He also is very active in the Genetic House. He also has an anti-scammer network Facebook group that's very cool. Just trying to do his part to keep them scammers off our backs and away from all our photos. I remember James Cruz I'm gonna out James Cruz here for a minute, but I remember talking to him one day about Broccoli was like one of the first guys to put watermarks on his photos. And James, of course, he doesn't hold back. He says exactly what he thinks. And he goes, yeah, well, he's got all these watermarks. I don't know what good that's going to do him. And I'm like, I don't know, though, because I don't see his pictures getting stolen. And now he's, got the anti-scammer network. So he was doing something right. We're going to find out about both those groups and a whole lot about cultivation. So without further ado, let's pull him on here. I'm talking about the one and only Broccoli.
What's up?
What's up, man? All right, welcome to the show. You've been here. You were on a moment back when I was doing the ethics segment. That was great, but I've been hoping to get you on and really get into it. So here we are. We're going to do it tonight.
Yes, sir. We are.
And just so everybody watching knows, broccoli, one of my favorite Facebook cultivators, also one of my favorite vegetables.
Yeah.
One of my favorite vegetables.
Very healthy.
I like the tops.
I love my broccoli. I just had broccoli last night for dinner, actually.
Yeah,
very good.
It's good. It's a superior vegetable. I'm not gonna lie. And I mean, there's morphological similarities, between that and mushrooms. Can't be ignored. Although it's a lot green. Mushroom cultivators, we don't really like the color green. We tend to shy away from that color. So anyway.
Yeah, I like my blurple. You couldn't tell.
Yep. Yes. So how about this? So the first thing that we do, always, we didn't do this when I had you on talking about ethics. Let's do your first mushroom memory, your myco origin story. Like, I want to know just the first time truly that mushrooms hit your radar in any capacity.
The history is very fragmented. I remember when I was really young, my dad, when I was growing up, he had this mushroom foraging book for California. That's where I was born.
All right.
And I just remember looking at pictures of mushrooms. I have always liked mushrooms, but then that was one time, and then later on down the road, I don't really know how much my dad was really into foraging. I should probably ask him, but he's not anymore. So he probably wasn't really into it that much.
He had a foraging phase that resulted in
phase.
at least the acquisition of a book.
Yes.
Nice.
And the book was really cool. I really liked it. I don't remember what it was called. Then that was that with the book. But then when I was a little bit older, I remember we moved to southern Missouri when I was like 16 or something like that. And I remember we would go on these camping trips, and there would be these trails, and we'd go up these trails, and there was all these weird like mushrooms growing and stuff. And I just like going up there, and I would keep going up the trails just to go look at mushrooms, and my friends were like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good, bro. I'm gonna stay here at camp. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go look at mushrooms.
Yeah, but
didn't know what they were called.
But did you see that mushroom over there? Yeah. Either you care or you don't. You can't make people care about them. Yeah.
It's a weird fascination, I guess, but it's just like they're so alien to me. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, so I grew up. We had a house right on the sand dunes of Lake Michigan. Through a series of fortunate events and a lot of elbow grease from my dad, he built a house. He got a super good deal on some land. We ended up living like a few houses down from the state park in Muskegon. And so I lived in the woods, straight up sand dunes and woods my entire childhood. So I was around a lot of trees, a lot of mushrooms. And for me, the greatest part about finding a mushroom when you're like 8, 10, 12 was to grab it and then immediately throw it against a tree. For some reason, that was just the best part. Like, you'd look at it and appreciate it, but for sure, ultimately, you just had to destroy it. Now, at the time, I didn't realize I was probably doing the mycelium a favor, right? I was spreading all those spores effectively through that whole process. So, yeah, that's my early memory. I didn't have any books. Now, so how old were you when you first saw that book?
Oh man, maybe like 13.
Okay. All right. So you're entering like very young adulthood. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And as a young adult, it interests you. All right. So that's a early seed.
But dude, I had no idea that I was going to end up growing mushrooms.
Me neither.
So it's so weird.
Me neither.
Cool.
You could have never told me. If I went back and talked to like high school graduation me and told me what I was going to be doing with my life right now, I would have been like, no, buddy, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Little do we know, the mushrooms have plans for us. They
will provide.
Yeah, they myceliate, they stick around and they're there for us. So that's cool, man. So you grew up in Northern or Southern California?
Northern.
Nice.
By Santa Rosa area.
Yeah.
Kind of Clear Lake is where I was born.
Yeah, I mean, so you're not Pacific Northwest exactly, but you're getting up into a little bit more nice weather, right? Like when I lived in Los Angeles, there was if you saw a mushroom, you were lucky. There's not a lot down there. It's pretty arid.
Yeah.
So
even up north, it's getting pretty dry nowadays, but
I have heard that lately it's been particularly bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what are you going to do? At least there's wine up there to drink. A lot of good wine. It's all good. Hang out with all the hippies up in Northern California. It's still a good time. So you went from California to Missouri, right? Missouri. Oh, no, you went later. So it was Missouri. Okay.
Well, it was in southern Missouri, so it was definitely Missouri.
Missouri. Okay, cool.
That's what everyone called it.
And would you say that's where you had more, right? It's a little juicier over there when it comes to mushrooms. So you had more to get you going
smaller window, like, because during the winter months it's very cold.
Yeah. Same here, man.
You have like ice storms. And, yeah.
I can tell you missed that.
I'm thinking about it.
No, I can tell you missed that. I know you're not getting many ice storms where you're at now. So yeah. All right, man. Well, that's a cool origin story. So get me from, you thought it was cool looking at mushrooms in your teen years to I grow mushrooms now. How do we get there?
It started as like, I was working doing landscaping with one of my friends, and it was just kind of like just a gig to make some money out here, and it was paying the bills, and it was okay for a while, and then it just turned into like it became a point at a point like, is this going to be what I pursue long term, or what am I going to be doing long term? I didn't really have a plan, and then one day it's just kind of weird. It's like one day I was talking to my friend, and I was like, we should like look into growing mushrooms or something that we are going to enjoy doing, like not even realizing the amount of work that was involved in just like, and the learning curve. I was just like, oh yeah, we're just going to grow mushrooms and, and have
it's
fun.
like everybody wants to be a rock and roll star and shred on the guitar. They don't want to sit there for 15,000 hours and learn how to do that, though. Yeah, it's work. It's all work.
Yep.
Anything valuable is a lot of work. Yep. So this idea just popped in your head. And how old are you at this point? Like, are you still a youngster?
This was a few years ago. I think 3 years ago.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. Like, I think COVID did this to a lot of people, where it was like, yeah, I got a little vacation from the man here, and I kind of like that. And a lot of people are not.
I think the pandemic was around when, because I remember when the pandemic started, I was actually doing really well because everyone wanted landscaping work done. It was like everyone was off work. They wanted to touch up their properties. So it was great for me for a while. And then it just became like, I mean, if you really look at it in comparison, it's like you're working for peanuts.
Oh, yeah.
Doing landscaping. So
yeah,
it's like, yeah, I was able to, get the equipment that I needed though to start my mushroom.
Nice.
So
now you also did, I think I mentioned this the last time you were on, you for a while worked with a guy doing beekeeping, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of, I've been working with him. I still kind of am, but unfortunately his business partner and him had a falling out, and his business partner was kind of the money guy, I guess. Yeah. He was the investor, and my friend was doing all the work, and then they had a falling out, and so they split the company, and now
it's what? Kind of like the money guy did nothing, and the other guy with no money did all the work? I've never heard of that. That's so
it's not
strange.
So much that he did nothing. It's just they didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Sure. Okay.
Unfortunately, it didn't end up very good for either of them, I think. But they're working through it. My buddy is he still has clients who are getting honey, and he does queens mostly. It's what he was doing.
Okay.
So the honey is kind of keeping him afloat right now until he can build up his queen operation again.
Nice.
So, yeah.
It's all about the queen.
Yeah.
There's always a queen bee you got to keep happy, right? And especially in beekeeping.
Yep. And the genetics are actually very important, just like mushrooms.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't open up another rabbit hole for me to go down.
Yeah, this is mushrooms. This is mushrooms here.
Yes, we're not going down there. I did it briefly as a kid because I collect hobbies. I have ADHD. This is what we do. But yeah, that one was fun, but I don't think I could ever go quite as far down that one as it's not complex enough for me. Once you kind of figure it out, then it's just kind of a job. This one just
it's
never
hard work too.
Yeah, and a lot of hard work. And I don't like getting stung by bees. And that did.
Gotta love that.
Yeah. Yep. You're just like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this thing, and I'm probably gonna get stung. Here we go. Yeah.
Dude, my buddy will just go out there with no shirt and he's just like working on hives. I'm like, bro, I'm getting fucking stung right now. I have a whole bee suit that I wear. I feel like a total noob when I work with him.
Gotta have the bee suit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Plus then later, with Miss Lee, they love the beekeeper outfit. That's a sexy outfit for sure. It's like, no, it's definitely not a sexy outfit, but it's cool. I love honey, man. Honey on the comb. It's so hard to still get it in the comb, but dude, in the comb on a little saltine cracker, it's like one of the joys of life. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And like I tell my kids every time they have honey, would you have ever thought that bee puke tastes so good. I love reminding them that it's just the vomit of Lily. They don't like being reminded of that. That's okay though.
Yeah, that's weird.
So all right. So you moved and got this business going, and what was your core motivation? I know you want to do something different. You were just
well,
I get
obviously
all that.
I want to be able to
really...
support myself, and that was a big part of it. Yeah, you got to be able to support yourself and be happy with the work that you're doing.
And so far, how's that going?
It's going really good. I've had
and
definitely
you like doing
some
it.
rough patches that I've had to work through, but I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I don't think this is ever going away.
I still don't know what the future is going to hold, you know?
A lot of people don't every day. That's what a lot of people are in my DMs talking about is, boy, oh boy. Like somebody, was talking to me about making a certain move, and they're like, whoa, man, it's been, the revenue's not where I thought it was going to be. Might not be doing that thing I was talking about. I think it's just, we're in this phase where it's really hitting the mainstream, and it's still new enough that everybody, instead of just going, cool, I learned how to grow my own medicine, they all go, but maybe I can make some money too. Because we live in America, everybody likes to make money.
Yeah.
So I think we will get over this hump where people realize, oh, but it's like a lot of work, and you better actually really like this. It's like every other thing that you can do with your life, right? You better actually like it.
Yep. 100%.
Grow one tub and convince yourself you need to run this major company. How about we get a little bit further down the road before you start making some major life decisions? Yes.
Yeah, you don't want it. It's not a phase. You want it to be long term. Choosing the path that you want to go down, right? So.
Yep. And then
the long term goal.
Yeah, for me, I get too much out of growing. I don't think I could ever stop growing. It's just really amazing process. It grounds me.
Fun. It's just like cool to see what you can do, and like just changing the water content or like whatever you want to do. Just kind of like seeing if you can make it better. You know what I'm saying? Better than your last grow.
The tweaking is really cool.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the tweaking. It's the, Ed's mentioned, people that breed orchids and how it's so much more work for very little reward. Like sometimes it can take forever to make one little thing happen. But there's enough feedback. It's enough, you put input in, you get something out. Yeah.
And it happens pretty quick, which I like. It's not like you're waiting months to figure out if something worked. It's like you can kind of tell pretty quick.
I'm with you. I like that. All right. So, I know we're going to talk about some Facebook groups, but first on the front end, let's get into some fruit. You sent me some photos. I figure instead of making everybody wait another hour or two to look at some fruit pics, over here on the East Coast, people got to go to bed. So let's get some fruit pics in.
Well, if you know me, you know that I love 𝐤𝐤𝐬's genetics. So
wait, you do? I didn't know that. All right. So first up then, what do we got here? Look at those.
This is just a little tub of out of emerald 𝐤𝐤𝐬s. So this one produced a lot smaller fruit and a lot more pins than I have normally gotten in. Unfortunately, I didn't take too many more pictures, but
still pretty dense.
Yeah,
I kind of honestly, I don't know about you. I love big fruit, but I also don't like big fruit. I end up slicing them up anyway, and
I'm kind of the same way. I like a medium, not too small, but not too big.
Yeah,
and other people also, they're like, get a big mushroom. They're like, I don't even know what to do with this thing.
What do I do with this? Yeah. I remember growing like DC Max stuff that would be like, well over 200 gram fruit, and you couldn't dry it. It took forever to dry, so you'd cut it lengthwise a couple times, and then you got these little like slivers of fruit, and people be like, "What happened to this?" And just too many questions. Too many questions. All right, look at that.
This
cap.
one was a nice longer one that I got. I believe this was from a second flush. Yeah, I just love the way that it looked.
Wow,
Emerald
Brock,
Gate.
I'm really impressed. You got a lot of swabs out of that one fruit there. That's
No.
impressive.
No,
I'm teasing.
that was my favorite one out of the one. I was like, I
Nice.
gotta get a cool picture of it with some
Yeah.
swab.
That's
And that was
another
from the same grow. It had like a cool alien head. I was like,
Yeah, it really has a good ghost shape, to be honest.
yeah.
That's nice.
These are all from the same clone. I was just taking some pictures. Oh yeah, this was a different one. This was from a grow a while back. Emerald Gates as well. Gave me some chunkier ones.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, same with that one.
Yeah, this
Really
is
pretty.
this one and this one are more in the vein of what I'm used to seeing of a lot of the gates.
Yeah,
this
so
is really cool, man. I hope I
yeah,
would actually pursue this.
yeah. So one thing I noticed with Emerald Gates is, and I learned it I think during this flush here, is that they like to be packed in really tight, and lots of water with the pseudo casing. They won't produce as much of a pin set if you don't do a pseudo casing layer. And most people who are watching this are going to be doing pseudo casing layers, but they like to be packed in, and they like. I actually learned this from James. They like a lot less fresh air exchange than, say, long white clouds, for example.
Okay.
Or most cultures that I run, I've noticed. So I've put a couple layers of micropore tape over the fresh air exchange holes, and that definitely, from my experience, has helped with the overall pin set.
And now it looks like not running gasketed tubs. Those are not the gasketed, right?
These are all gasketed tubs.
Oh, they
yes.
are gasketed. Okay, it kind of looked like that. I couldn't
The
tell.
easy storage. These are this one here. I run the Emerald Gates in shorter tubs because they usually aren't very tall. These are 32-liter easy storage gasketed tubs, and then I also run 50 liters for like long white clouds and stuff. And what's cool about them is they're all the same brand, and the 32 liters are stack compatible with the 50 liters. So you can stack them. Nice.
Yeah, that is very nice. I know when the micropose tubs came out, the first thing I did when I got some was check to see if I could stack them. I was like, okay, good. They stack. Right. Now, so that's worth noting for people watching, that sometimes you can make decisions on your tubs. So if you, for example, if you know these gates, Emerald Gates don't need as much fresh air exchange, you wouldn't want a tub that's very tall, and you wouldn't want then to have the dynamics of your holes, really encourage a circulation of air through there. So you can run a shallower tub. I think that's...
Yeah, I mostly just do it because they don't require a lot of headroom. And I think you have a point there though, like if you're using a larger tub with more room in there, I don't really know.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out that could be a play. That could be...
I could try it out and see what happens.
that could be an angle on it. Now, overall, I do think that the average cube likes some extra headroom, right?
Yeah.
Like they just like, this is why we dub tub our dub tubs, right? Is the minute our pins are growing, we want to give it more air, more space above the cake layer. But if something likes to be choked out, I've been thinking about that. Everybody's doing the mutant grow along right now. And I've been thinking, I wonder if there's like a more ideal container to do mutants in. Like, I just wonder if there's some other way. So when you said this, the first thing I thought was, oh man, I wonder how some mutants would do in here. Maybe
I've grown them in here. They do pretty well. What I do for mutants though is I reduce fresh air exchange a lot because they take 2 months sometimes for the whole fruit
you do
process.
a lot of fresh air exchange?
No, I do very little. So
okay. I was like, what?
Maybe I said that wrong. I
Yeah,
put more
none.
layers.
Yep.
I put more layers of micropore tape. I actually use Hypafix tape. Shout out to BC for teaching me that. Thank you, bro.
Nice.
So Hypafix tape is very similar to micropore, but it doesn't leave the residue behind. You know how sometimes you have micropore tape, and you like get it wet and try to rip it off, and like, leaves all that shit on there.
Oh yeah.
Hypafix does not do that, which is really nice. But anyway, so I'll do multiple layers of either micropore or Hypafix tape, and just kind of eyeball the surface conditions. I'll look in there every couple days, you know, just to see what the moisture level looks like. If it looks good, well, for mutants, it's more set and forget. I just put like 2 or 3 layers on there and just kind of forget about it. But for the other stuff, I usually kind of I babysit it a little bit, not too much.
I mean, in the ideal world, right? Like all our best tubs, I don't know if we've said this, but I can say this for myself. The less I did with a tub, the more likely it turned out great. The more I fuck with the tub, the more likely it is I screw it up. Now I'm at a point where I can do some things to help something out if it wasn't going well to begin with. But overall, my most banging tubs of all time have always just been everything worked out great. I mixed the right ratios. It was the right field capacity. The room temperature and relative humidity was ideal. And I could just literally forget about it and come back and go, holy shit, that's a absolute banging canopy I got there that I didn't do anything to get other than do all the things right in the beginning.
It's true, man. Set and forget is really, if you
goal.
Set up your parameters kind of, the goal from the beginning, and you kind of know what you're looking for, then you can set it up in a way that you don't have to mess with your tubs, and it's great.
And see, that is like, for me, that is such like the Zen Buddhist, like part of why this is so therapeutic for me is because the better I get at it, the less I do. The better I get at it, the more patience I have to have. The more I have to leave it be. I have to not want to be involved in it, but sometimes you just want to control it, right?
Looking at the tubs.
Yeah.
Sometimes I still do that.
Oh yeah. I mean, how can you not? It's almost impossible. All right, so then you also sent me, I believe, some
so this is Lucid Gates. So this is from Spore. I ran it from Spore. According to James, this is a common kind of look that you will get when running Lucid Gates from Spore. A little bit skinnier fruit. This was a very fast culture. This one This one fruited in, I think it was, I'd have to look exactly, but I think it was just under, I think it was just over 10 days, maybe 14 days, which is pretty fast. It's pretty fast for Lucid Gates.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I was pretty impressed with this. So I cloned it, and I'm running it right now. So I'm excited to see what the next clone looks like.
So all right, for you, what is the attractive phenotype? What one are you going for?
I really love the bearded stipes. Stipes are, that's why I love Gates so much. And shout out to Michael Montgomery for Pearly Gates. I love Pearly Gates. I need to run it. But,
man, one of these days I'm gonna
started it all.
I keep trying to sweet talk Michael to come on, but I get real close sometimes, and he changes his mind. We'll get him on one of these days.
Dude, that would be sweet. Yeah,
it'll happen. Yeah, I think it's important to tell all those stories and how, right? Like one person can do something cool, and then the next guy does something cool, then the next guy, and it becomes part of the metaphor of the mycelium. But really, it's really true. You can work something over time, and that becomes then your contribution to it, the way you can influence and inspire more people. One, for every toke isolation that you get lucky with and you work to death, how many people does that inspire? How many great trips does that give somebody? I mean, that's a big deal. It's getting a little more spiritual about it, but it's important.
Yeah, so Lucid Gates. Gotta love those.
Yeah. Oh, see, I
love those.
call them gnarled stipes. I don't even think gnarled is a word, but it's like
They're
gnarly.
definitely gnarled.
Yeah, gnarly, right? And there, any time I get a gnarled stipe like that, I'm pretty happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at those deer.
Yeah. So that was
God.
from a second flush. I
Yeah,
believe those were from the same grow that you just saw in the photo before, but
Man.
from second flush.
I
Really
don't.
nice.
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I would be a blushing bride right there with that. Look at that.
Yeah. And then that was a monster. So I did an isolation from one of the from 𝐦𝐤𝐬𝐿. It did some weird blob mutation, so I cloned the blob, and it took forever, dude. I think it was like 3 months to fruit, and it finally produced like this tub, and the overall yield wasn't that great, but I got some chonkers out of it, and that was one of them.
Wow, 3 months.
Yeah. I was like, I can't believe it.
I don't give them that much time. If things are not progressing after a month, you are out of here.
Well, yeah, I basically, that one, I'm not running it anymore, but I just figured I would let it do its thing. And I did take some swabs off of that, and I did it in a giveaway thing a while back. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Of course you have to. So I got a question for you. Let me pull this back up. So when you are cloning, would you say how often, I'm not even going to lie, I don't know if I pay attention to this, but I feel like you're the guy to ask this. When you're cloning a good looking fruit that you're going, oh, wow, I love this fruit. Let's clone it, hoping that we get a tub full of that fruit. How often do you feel like that translates, and how often is it like, oh, this is nothing like that? Like, maybe I like it, maybe I don't. How often do you feel like cloning a specific fruit for its morphology actually translates into seeing that in the tub?
It's not all the time. Like with that blob, when I cloned it, I got a few blobs in the tub, but I got a lot of just weirdos and bigger fruit. So it just depends, really. I think the characteristic that you're looking for and the conditions, you gotta really. I feel like to really be able to know for sure if it's going to work is you really got to have your conditions dialed in and know what your moisture content is and stuff, because you could get different looking fruit sometimes. Like long white clouds is a perfect example of that. It's like you can change the look of the fruit depending on the conditions that you're growing. So,
well, yeah, speaking of that, I think you sent me pictures of that. So let's show everybody what you're talking about here.
So this is actually a pseudo case layer tub that I did, 50-liter tub with long white clouds with an added amount of water. So I was doing, I think I was doing 400% water to core and before, and then I jumped it up another 600 milliliters.
All right.
So I got a lot. I noticed right away I was getting a lot more dark caps when I upped the water amount. So
now, so I got a question. Did you do wet weight versus dry weight on these? Like how much was that? Just a hygrophilous cap from there being a lot of extra water, or?
I think it was just because of the water. I didn't do wet to dry weight comparison. I only did the dry weight. So,
because to look at it, they look amazing. Particularly the perfect circle caps with the gray centers, just looks so cool.
𝐸𝐸𝐬𝐬's genetics, man. He's
nice.
One of my best friends.
Yeah, man, those look very cool. But it does look wet. Like I can tell that these are some juicy fruits right here.
Yeah, I've had a couple people tell me they're pretty spicy too.
Oh yeah, man. I don't even know if I don't think I've seen these from you or heard about them. But yeah, long white cloud.
Long white clouds. So
clouds.
Long white clouds is an albino rusty white, and rusty white was a cross by pasty white back in the old Truman days. Yeah. It was a leucistic A plus crossed with the Colombian rust spore.
Mm-hmm.
And originally it was a white mushroom that had red spores. Well, BC was able to isolate it actually came from a mutant that he had pop up in one of his grows. It was an albino mutant. And he cloned it, and then albino rusty white popped out, and he basically just stabilized that. And this is just one of the expressions that comes out of it.
Nice. All right, let's see some other. Oh yeah.
And this is a good example of what long white clouds looks like with the less water in it. I was doing
like
about 400%.
standard, like a standard field capacity.
Yeah, just like okay. I tend to go by percentages. When I say 400%, it basically I just use core and water, coconut core, brick, and water. And when you squeeze it, it's just like you're only going to see a couple drops come out. But with the new water amount, you're seeing quite a bit more when you're squeezing that. It's letting out quite a bit. So I went from about 400% to 460.
So now when you do that, which by the way, that's a cool way of thinking. That's probably a more like accurate way to do it than the traditional MyCOTEK recipe, which, you know, okay, we got 650 grams of core, but then we have a volumetric measurement for the water, and then we, you know what I mean? Like it's not precise.
Well, it works well. It works well for people, I think, because we're comparing it to the 650 gram bricks. That, you know, the 𝐸𝐸 bricks that come in.
Right.
So I mean, it works great that way, but I like to also use the percentages just to give like a, I don't know.
Just to be more anal retentive and precise, dude. I get it.
Yeah, yeah. And
dude,
core has a pretty consistent.
Yeah, man, I don't assume that eco earth brick is 650. It never is. I mean, every once in a while, but it's usually under or over, because especially if you buy the 3-packs, one's bigger than the other two anyway. And some
I've been getting the big bricks, and I just break off a chunk, and I weigh it out because it's better, in my opinion, just to get in bulk anyway.
I'm with you.
Get the big bricks.
I like the big bricks, 100%. But so it's interesting that you're doing a percentage by weight, and that my guess is that's a good consistent way to do it. I mean, of course, like water, you know, 1 gram is 1 ml, so there is an equivalency there, but still, that's kind of another good way of thinking about it. But I can definitely tell there's more consistency with this kind of standard, right, field capacity, whereas here it seemed like some of them decided to do some more interesting things, that whether they took on more water, they frill up a little bit differently as well. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I you're probably already aware because I posted it in your group, but I did this the test with the water amounts.
Yeah.
And what sucks is I only ran 12 tubs in comparison, and some of the tubs, like the last few pseudopaste tubs that I ran, one of them had contamination, and then a couple of the other ones they produced the regular looking fruit like those. So I was a little bit confused. And I still think that there's a correlation to fruit size and moisture level in substrate. But it just kind of sucked because that experiment, I felt like didn't really show it totally. I don't know. I plan to run some more tubs with
that's
new
the
water amount and just keep showing it. And it's
kind
of annoying, but it is what it is.
So yeah, maybe walk everybody through what you did for that, and then same with the pseudo casing. That might be a great little FAFO story to tell people.
Yeah, so I started, like I mentioned a second ago, I was doing long white clouds with, I'm trying to remember the amount of water. But I think I was doing 5 liters of water per 1,300 grams of core brick. And the reason I use 13 is because it's double 650. So I use two coconut core bricks to 650 bricks per bucket. So I was using 1.3 kilogram or 1,300 grams of core brick to 5 liters of water, and that was pretty much right at field capacity, like we were talking about earlier. Just barely any drips coming out. Yep. And then when I had the idea to run this test, I wanted to also I also ran it with exposed and pseudocase tubs. So I wanted to try this new water amount, a higher water amount for both the exposed grain and the pseudocase tubs, just to see between each of those if I see a difference in average fruit size and average yield too per tub. And it surprised me because what I noticed right away from the exposed grain tubs is a massive increase in average fruit size and an average yield increase as well. But I would
like
attribute
about
that
how much?
to the water.
Okay.
Well, I was getting just over 4 ounces dry out of a 50-liter tub before with White Clouds, and it went up to 5. I have it in my notes, but it was the average weight was like 5.4 or something.
Oh yeah, substantial then.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
cool.
Definitely water. I mean, I'm not the first person to say this. Water, mushrooms are made of water mostly, so it's like you add more water, you get more mushroom, I guess. Yeah.
Now, so the thing that always interests me about that is, so are we only getting more water so that when we dry it, so the thing that's why I asked you about the wet weight versus dry weight is, is the wet weight much higher, but then when we dry it, is it drying down to about the same? But it sounds like you're saying dry weight was substantially higher as well. So
that is a good point. That's a good point. And I didn't think of that. But
I'm always, because dude, everybody said that these things are 90% water, and every time I dry them within an inch of their life. Well, they're dead, so beyond their life.
Well,
and it's more than 10% usually. Like, I feel like my weight ends up being about 8 to 9%. So I'm like,
mine is usually around 8.
Yeah, they're definitely, it's 92% water. They are almost entirely water.
Yeah. One thing that I did, like when I go and harvest the tubs, I didn't notice anything like the fruits being like more wet, like in a undesirable way.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a good sign. They seemed like they liked the extra water, but it wasn't like they weren't waterlogged, basically. You know what I mean? It wasn't too wet. And that's another thing I wanted to...
You gave them the water up front rather than like, have you ever, where you're like, oh, this looks like maybe it got a little dry. Let's bottom water it. Let's inject it with some water. Let's do whatever. And then every time I do that, I feel like then they just get the quality of like they do suck up the water, but it's just like a nasty old sponge the way that sucks up some water, right? Like
I still do it. I flood the cake. I'll flood my cake for my second flush because I really don't
for that,
care
yes, but no, I'm talking about like in between
first.
Like if the fruits start pinning, they start forming, they're growing, and then you can just tell they're slowing down.
And then you're like, okay, I'll give you some.
And then they just fill up, but they don't really get much bigger. And I feel bad, like I abused them or something with the water.
Usually with the water and I think fresh air exchange also plays a big role in that too. Because if you have a lot of fresh air exchange, then conditions are going to get drier. And that's another point that I wanted to bring up is when you're increasing the water amount, there could be an adjustment that you need to make with fresh air exchange. So you don't want it to get so wet in there that it's dripping from the top of the lid and like coming down. So you might need to increase fresh air exchange when you're increasing water amount.
That would totally make sense. Because I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like this whole house. So how much water should be in our substrate? From all the people I've talked to and all the thinking I have done, I have come up with this, and I welcome anybody who wants to, add their 2 cents in the comments. That would be great. But if you add, like, if you just have it as a swamp, right? Obviously now you have like it's like a water environment. It's not like soil, and we know they grow mostly in soil, very rarely in water. That's
Yeah.
not going to be conducive to the process. We also know that primordia formation is triggered by an evaporation process off of, the hyphae. So
Mhm.
there's a bunch of reasons it can't be that wet. So then you go, okay, so it can't be like a swamp, I guess, unless you're growing zaps and pans, but which they can grow that way. But cubes anyway, they
Yep.
need it a little bit drier. So then you can't go so dry there's not enough water. So you're always
Mhm.
trying to find out just how much water can I really get in there. And that's where this whole, right, squeeze a fistful of sub, you should get a couple drops. That's kind of worked
Mhm.
out to be the case. But I can promise you, and based off what you're saying, I've had some varieties, and not even just Melmacs. Melmacs are definitely thirsty. They definitely like to be above
Oh,
field
oh yeah.
capacity. They're just bigger fruits. They just need more. They need more in the sub. But I've had other
Mhm.
ones that seem to be very sensitive to the perfect field capacity. Like that's never quite enough for them for reasons I don't even understand.
Yeah.
So
Dude,
you just who
I'm
knows?
just getting started on this journey. I'm like, after running this test, I'm like, dude, I feel like I've just been adding not enough water to
Yeah.
my grows for the last year or two.
And who knows
I'm
what
like,
that
what
fruit
am I
would look.
doing?
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yep.
now I'm like, so basically what I found, and down to percentages, I would recommend anywhere between 400% water to coconut coir or
Mm-hmm.
dry ingredients, I guess you could say, if you're using vermiculite, whatever.
Yep.
So 400% water content to dry content. And between 400 and 460 is kind of where I'm at right now. And 460 is right at about what was my number? 3 liters per 650 gram brick. That
3
would be
liters. Okay.
3 liters per 650 gram brick would be 460%. About.
But
I
then
did
you're
this all on
also
the
saying
calculator earlier.
if you move up to that 460% dry weight to wet weight, you're going, okay, cool. There's more water in there that I need to evaporate off. I don't want to just dripping off my lid all over these fruit.
Yep.
So you have to allow for more fresh air exchange.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay.
And there's a couple things that I'm looking at doing. And some strains, like we were just talking about 𝐥𝐸𝐬𝐷𝐿, it likes to have less fresh air exchange. So you've got to find that balance between the moisture level and not having it dripping on the mushrooms and getting, I mean, if it's a little fuzzy, that's not a problem. It happens. But one thing that I've noticed is my tubs, they still do get a lot of condensation on the top.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I stack my tubs too. The ones that are on the bottom of the stack or in the middle of the stack, they don't get the condensation. Only the ones that are exposed to the air on the top. So one thing that I'm looking at, one thing that I'm looking at doing is buying some, what do you call it? The rubber. I'm drawing a blank right now. But the rubber mats that I'm basically, it's just like a rubber mat that I'm just going to put on the top of the top tubs just so it reduces the condensation on the lid.
Yeah, I've had that.
See what it does.
Many a time where part of what made a tub flush so well was that it had, just the walls were perfectly condensated, the lid, but then classically, if you really have a perfect flush, for people who don't know, for new growers, right, they just see it and they go, it's so pretty, I want that. They don't realize that it's really a display of growing prowess and your how dialed in you are, because it is, even on a great tub, the minute that water condenses on the lid and then it wants to always drip down in the middle. So now you have the center of your cake is too wet, and so it's
Got
not
a little lake in
evaporating.
there.
A lake, or it's at least just too damp, and so you either have anywhere from a light flush in the middle to nothing in the middle, but this perfect canopy everywhere else, and that is because it's really hard to dial to hit that perfect range. Like people that have been growing a really long time and have grown a lot of mushrooms, they're not necessarily getting that every single time because there's just so many factors at play with every tub. What you gonna do? You're gonna buy mats. You're gonna keep playing around. You're gonna keep trying to figure it out.
Never ends.
Yes.
I've actually had a couple tubs. If you guys have seen some of my my tubs, you can see some of them here. The holes are pretty low, and I've actually had it where it was too much fresh air exchange, and it was causing in the 𝐥𝐤𝐬𝐷 tubs, it was causing the mycelium to yellow right kind of in front of the hole. So I gotta put some more tape or something, just reduce fresh air exchange, but not too much. And so
exactly. Or here, let me pull a couple comments on here. Whereas Baron says, you just do 100 tubs, don't sweat the small shit. There you go. Yes. That's now
there you go.
he brings up a very good point though, which is, and I've noticed this, some of the guys who every once in a while you get somebody that grows a 600-gram fruit or 1,000-gram fruit or just exceptionally large fruit.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, they have their magic. What do? They have the secrets of growing wisdom. Or they're just running 100 tubs. Or they're just playing a numbers game, right? You play the slot machine.
Yeah. You're going to get
win
stuff
one of those times. You're going to hit the jackpot sooner or later. I wanted to address one other question real quick. Myco Dandy said, she asked you this earlier, but then Dave was talking about it. So I think she asked him, does the weight of the vermiculite factor into the calculation? And I think you said dry weight versus wet weight.
Yeah. So it's a pretty general statement, but what I would do is figure out what your dry ingredient weights are and then add that. And you could, some people are going to be like, I don't want to weigh my vermiculite. I just want to scoop it in and pour it in. And you're more than welcome to do that. But if you want to know what the moisture content is, I would at least figure out what the weight is for those things that you're adding to your tubs. And then you can kind of have a general idea of what the percentage is, water to dry ingredients. Yeah.
Yeah. I always, that's been a lot of talk here and there over the years is, so when you hydrate your core, do you just hydrate the core and add the vermin later? Do you add it in first? Do you this? Do you that? I'm now at a point where I like my recipes easy. So all my dry ingredients go in at the same time. It gets hydrated at the same time. I tried doing the vermiculite later. I don't think it made a huge difference, but for some reason I didn't like it as much. And I think that's because in the beginning, the verm is only going to suck up just so much of that moisture. It doesn't really suck a lot of it up. And of course the water is going to go where it's easiest to go when it's first hydrating. So I don't think it probably matters too much, but just make your life easy. Just put all your dry ingredients in. And like you're saying, sure, people don't want to weigh verm. You only got to do it once.
Yeah.
Then you can
kind
do
of
it
figure
by
out
volume.
figure out what your volume is.
Yep.
What the weight of the volume is that you're doing.
Yep.
And then you can just use that. And coconut core might have a different capacity, I guess, field capacity
absorptive
verm.
Capacity.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
even brand to brand.
Take into consideration.
Yeah, man, I switched brands at one point and I was just using, a recipe and I was like, okay, this is way wetter. Why is this so much wetter now? I don't get it. And it was just because of the quality.
I just stopped using it. I just stopped using core or vermiculite. It's just, I don't need it. I was using it for a long time. I was actually doing, like you were mentioned earlier, I was adding the vermiculite to the buckets after I added the water just to bring it to field capacity. And it worked fine. But I'd rather not spend the money on vermiculite, and I'm still getting good flushes. And I don't really need it. So it's like
You're
just
you're
one
not
less
the
thing I have to
first
worry
person to say that. Yep.
about. Yeah.
I really think the CVG of it all was just it was a little more foolproof. It was a little more friendly. There was a little more of a buffer to the whole process. But dude, even 2 years ago, lots of people that were like, I just tried, I couldn't get verm and I wanted to run some fruit. No problems. Yeah.
That was also part of the problem here is like, it's harder to get certain products, and vermiculite was one of those. I went to Home Depot when I first started, and I bought like all their bags that they had of vermiculite, and then they were out of stock. It's like,
yeah.
It's just that they'll have stock and then it's out, and then you have to wait for it to be shipped back out, and then it's just like it's just kind of a hassle. So now I don't even.
All right, here we go. Dave Wombat, the mathematician, just said,
"Hey, Dave."
So I did the math. The MycoTek water is 4 quarts to 650 brick. Yep, 2 quarts verm. If the 650 core absorbs 5 times its weight in water, that's just over half liter of water for the verm. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, cool. Nice, Dave. Thank you.
There
bro.
it is, dude. Just
That's cool.
Gems
Dave's
in the
man.
chat, guys. Gems in the chat. You never know. Also, quick little shout out. Natural State said, hey guys, can't stay long. I barely use any verm and probably won't buy more. So there you go. That's a good sign, right? That's like when you break up with a girlfriend. If you don't miss her, good move. Good move. Break up with vermiculite. You never know. You might be a happier person. You never know.
Yeah, I feel like vermiculite and gypsum are both. They're not required, but
they are definitely
some
not
people
required.
like them, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm with you. Yeah, so some people just get real jinxy, right? They're just like, man, I got this all dialed in. It took me, I started growing 7 years ago before all you lucky motherfuckers had, all these resources you do now. Don't tell me some new secret. I don't want to hear it. Like, I got something that works. Yep. I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, if it works, that's what I always tell people. Like a lot of the stuff that I post in the groups is just advice for people who need help.
Yeah.
And those people who already have their techs and the way that they do things and methods, that's totally cool. And they can help people in our group too.
But now, so a lot of people go, I just tell people what works for me. Like they have to be so like afraid to just say this works. And I just say, if you think about any famous musician, right? When they were developing as a musician, they listened to other people that they idolized, right? Like, oh, I idolized the Rolling Stones. I learned, or, I'm a drummer, a rock drummer. I listened to the Police religiously for 8 years until I could play every part to perfection. There's something to be said for emulating a process, especially if you're new. So it's cool. Like if Brock is on Facebook helping you out, just shut up and just do what he says.
Yeah, I mean, if you already have,
yes,
yeah, if we have a lot of experienced people in the group, and for them, I would just say stick with what works for you. But
yeah.
We have also a lot of new people coming in who need help, and my approach is I like easy, simple, and get you from point A to point B as efficiently as possible.
Well, and for a new grower or an early grower, do you want to give them 10 steps or do you want to give them 3 steps? Do you want to have 5 things that can go wrong or do you want 2 things that can go wrong? Like, just don't be dumb about it.
And even like I've heard you talking about this before. It's like when new people come in, it's simple is key. Like you don't want to start on everything at once. Start with agar, get that down. You don't have to have all these things going at once when you're just starting out. It's like, you're trying to want fruit here, you're trying to grain bags here, and you're trying to. It's a lot. It's a lot for a beginner to just.
I think a lot of new people, right? And we don't talk about this, but for a lot of people, there is a period where they're watching these videos. They're whether they're listening to this podcast or another podcast, or they're watching Philly Golden Teacher videos or Home Mycology, whoever they're watching. And they're usually watching everybody. So now you got 19 different ideas about every topic going through your head. And there is a period where some people have to work up the nerve to decide to grow these mushrooms in their house. For some people, right? That's a big step.
Mhm.
And I think during this process of waiting, where they're building up the courage and feeling like I have a right to do this, to grow these mushrooms for their medicinal benefits that I hear everybody talking about every day, all day, almost everywhere these days. When they finally go to do it, they have sucked up so much knowledge. I think they go, "Oh, I'm going to just crush it. Oh, I think I got it figured out what I'm gonna do." Right? It's like when the new overpass gets built, and your dad, I remember as a kid, my dad would be like, "I don't know why they put this here, and I don't know why they did that and that." And it's like, well, only a team of 19, structural engineers and architects and draftsmen, and a SWAT team of 45 guys with advanced degrees way beyond yours did all their shit and figured it out. But you probably got a better idea. Right? It pays to just, if you're new, pick a guy, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows Brock can grow. Everybody knows I can grow. Everybody knows Dave Wombat can grow. It doesn't take long to figure out if somebody knows how to grow mushrooms. And if
No
they're
need
good
to
with,
reinvent the wheel. It's
just
like
pick one and
people have
start
been
growing.
doing this for a lot longer than I have.
Yep.
I learned from other really good, experienced cultivators, and I'm just basically passing it on, just teaching people what I was taught. So
yeah. All right, man. I got a quick question for you from Trip Johnson in the chat. He wants to know, can you help me understand why they recommend only pasteurizing bulk sub and not sterilizing it? I have an answer for this, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, for me, I don't think, this is just my opinion, I don't really think it needs to be sterilized. Coconut coir is, when they, especially when they're pushing it into those little bricks, they're using a lot of pressure, a lot of heat. It's wet, I'm pretty sure, when they're doing it. So it's just like steaming the shit out of it. And it just, right. It's basically, it's pretty clean when you're getting those bricks. And when you're pasteurizing, it doesn't even really require pasteurization either. I've used just core brick with water. I used MyCOTEK, but I didn't boil the water. Just added it in there, and it works just fine. The boiling water does help break up the core a little bit better, and I feel like it just makes it a little bit softer and easier for the mycelium to kind of work with. But other than that, you really don't need to pasteurize or especially sterilize. I pasteurize just because I like my core broken down a little bit.
Yeah. So I think you're right. There's a lot of things we do that we don't have to do. Yeah. In a pinch, there's a lot of things you don't have to do. For example, I could do transfers in front of that flow hood and never turn it on. If I did 100 transfers, I got my little mycology simplified particulate meter here. There we go. Right? Look at that. 1, 0, and 3. There's not that much shit in my air down here. I wouldn't even have to turn the flow hood on. But why do I turn the flow hood on? It decreases my contamination rate.
Your success rate goes up.
My success rate goes up. So for me, and I use MPG Plus, so I do sterilize sub only because it works synergistically with that to truly, truly make sure that it's an absolutely inert substrate, so that the bacteria in the MPG Plus doesn't have to compete with maybe one or two little things that got, found their way in there. Great. But you don't have to. I talk to people all the time. Oh, I don't even pasteurize. I don't even heat it up. Cold water, let it sit there. 9 times out of 10, it works out just great. And I recommend for anybody, anytime you're asking a question about a process, just fucking try it. Just try it.
I mean, you might lose a couple bags or whatever, but
yeah, try it. See what happens for you. In my basement, it might turn out completely different than in Brock's lab, right? Or in some other guy's lab. So until you actually try it out in your environment, it might work amazingly well for you.
Dropped.
Oh, you're still on. Oh, wow. This is a new one, guys. Brock is still live, but he doesn't know he's live. All right. Well,
the whole
are you back?
The connection just dropped out. I was getting every other word. I'm sorry. Could you repeat?
Oh, I was just saying that, right, a lot of the stuff that, I might come on in here and say, and I'm not going to, but let's say I just said, you must sterilize your substrate. And I'm saying that because in my experience in my basement, every time I don't, I get too much contamination. Well, Brock might say, well, buddy, you don't know what you're talking about, because I don't have that experience at all. I don't even pasteurize my sub, and I almost never get contam. Again, these are environmental factors that are different for every person where they're at. This is why
100.
some of these techs, you truly, it behooves you to mess around and figure out what you can get away with where you're at. If you can get away with not doing it, why would you do it? If you're comfortable with a 2% contam rate, then why would you be shooting for a 1% contam rate?
Yeah. Dude, I've had people tell me like they do the no soak, no simmer grains. I've had terrible success with that. And I've had people tell me it works great for me every time. It's like, all right, that's it could work for you. It could not work for you. You just gotta try it.
I had somebody, my buddy Neo here, he tried popcorn 2 times. Failed miserably, was really building a nice little chip on his shoulder about popcorn, and I didn't even pressure him. I don't give a shit what anybody uses to grow with. I'm just telling you what I like, why I like it, why I use it, what I've used, whatever. And he goes, well, I gave it one more try. And I said, well, why'd you even bother to do that? Oh, I just thought I'd give it one more try. All right, cool. And then now he's like, it looks like I finally figured it out. Sometimes people go, oh, I tried that. You tried it once? Okay, that's fine. And maybe you only want to try it once. And if it doesn't work, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Fine, that's good. But again, it's pretty hard. This would just be my general advice to newer growers or people who want to really get good at this. You can't try something once and have it not work out and go, oh, that doesn't work. That's like me picking up a bass guitar and go, I think I want to learn how to play this bass guitar. I'm not good at it. Oh, this don't work. Here, God, some things take a little more work than one time.
Yeah. And there's a balance too. It's like you gotta know when to walk away and when to try again, you know what I mean?
And when to run. Yes. Yes, and I agree. Stealthy Spore says there's a major difference with core products. I agree. Some core is made for cannabis, and some is amended with trichoderma in it.
Yeah.
So obviously, but again, with that even said, you could run that stuff unpasteurized, and 9 times out of 10, or maybe 7 or 8 times out of 10, your mycelium, depending upon your spawn ratios, might beat out all of that. I think people forget that all the time there are little battles going on, and a lot of times by tossing a shit ton of grain spawn, high quality grain spawn at anything is going to do pretty well. Look at these people doing outdoor grows, right? They're colonizing their little wood chips, and then they're tossing it out in a river or somewhere, and a year or 2 later they got fruit. And it just, it had to roll up its sleeves and compete with everything else. Great. I just really encourage people to, when you're young and you're just starting out, listen to guys like Brock. As you get more into it, try stuff out, man. You don't know what you just don't like. It's like my damn kids with food. I don't like broccoli. Oh yeah? You've never tried it. How do you know you don't like broccoli? My 4-year-old didn't like broccoli, just didn't like how it looked, decided he didn't like it.
So many ways to cook it though. It's like you can blanch it.
I put a little butter and salt on it. No, he loves it now. He loves it, so it's all good. All right, man. So so I like your tubs. I think you got a little something set up. You wanted to show somebody something. Do you want to do that?
Oh yeah. So I have some just some second flushes going.
Cool.
The thing is having a little bit of a delay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great. You might on your end have a small delay.
Yeah, so I have a couple albino emerald gates tubs on second flush. I can just show you guys a couple different ones. It's still rolling over here. No. Oh, there it is. Hey.
All right,
Set
guys,
up
there we go.
My phone over here.
All right, so this is second flush of albino emeralds.
Yeah, and I basically, they're ready to be picked.
Oh yeah.
I just wet my cakes after first flush. I'm not too worried about second flush. I'll literally just take the shower head that I have over here, and I'll just flood the top of the cake and just close it up. And let it do its thing. That's usually what I do.
I think it's worth noting. Do you guys see the nice even condensation on that lid?
Oh yeah, is it? Oh yeah, it is.
That's nice. That's what you want right there. That's pretty.
Yep. Yeah, I'm probably gonna fold these tonight.
Those look great.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you some stuff. It's not like super crazy.
No,
I have another. I think I have another tub over here. Pull it out.
I like this, guys. Brock said, "Hey, I wanted to connect my phone." I said, "Do it, man. Connect your phone. Let's get another camera angle in here." I love that.
Dude, I think I was overcomplicating it earlier. I was thinking like, okay, if I wanted to connect to it through because I use OBS Studio. Dude, this was so much easier than I thought. So this
super easy.
This lid, you can tell, it's a little bit needs to have a little bit more fresh air exchange.
Yeah.
It is a little drippy. But yeah, we got a nice.
But those look great, man.
Yeah, I believe this is first flush, and I'm still working on getting these to be more cooperative with inset and flushing.
Yeah, dude, that looks fantastic. There's a couple fruits particularly in there. Yep, right there.
This is a big one. So this is the new water amount. This is first flush, so pretty big.
And the quality, they don't feel soggy. They feel right.
Oh yeah, they feel nice and firm.
Nice.
And the base isn't. Sometimes you could tell if it was too wet, because the base of the stipe will be kind of waterlogged and kind of like yellowish.
Yep. Those are great. Yeah. Oh, that looks fantastic. Nice, man. So that's that's your 460%.
Yes. This is
cool.
460% water to 4.
I like that. Yeah, man. I think for the longest time people were like, here's just exact field capacity, hit exact field capacity, because there are so many other issues that could happen if you didn't, especially if people's sterilization cycles weren't working or weren't long enough or whatever. But that's looking pretty nice. You got me wanting to try that.
Dude, I've been really, I have about 12 tubs altogether of the albino emerald gates because I'm trying to get it figured out. I got long white clouds figured out. I'm the kind of guy that I want to work on a project at a time, kind of like get it really good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, so I'm working on albino emerald gates and I'm gonna start working on emerald gates a little bit more, and that was part of the announcement that I.
Oh yes, you were gonna do an announcement. I mean, we're an hour in. We can, if you want to do an announcement, we can make the announcement.
So, well, before we get into the announcement, I just wanted to shout out our team over at MycoTek and the Genetic House. Got really good people over there. If you guys haven't already joined MycoTek or the Genetic House, definitely check it out. Good people there, and always just doing cool stuff. So it'd be cool to see you guys over there.
Very, very focused growers, real growers, focused first and foremost on the growing. Secondly, on the other stuff. First and foremost, focused on growing. Definitely couldn't agree more with what you just said. Well,
with MycoTek, it's a little bit of a different platform than the Genetic House. Genetic House is more focused on the genetics and like the genetics themselves. Whereas MycoTek, we Ryan McIntosh and I started this group. Well, he actually started the group back when it was One Up Mycology. Maybe some of you guys remember that.
Yeah. Wow.
And
I didn't know that. I think I did, but I forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah. So him and I teamed up, and he had this cool idea for the group. Like, he wanted it to be a place where everyone can go and the world's not a perfect place, but just a place where everyone can, it's like common ground where everyone can go to,
right.
and contribute and ask questions and answer questions and all kinds of stuff. So we kind of rolled with that, and I had the MycoTek name idea, and we just kind of rolled with that. And I talked to 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐬. Maybe you guys know him.
Yeah.
Over in New Zealand. He helped me with the design of the logo for MycoTek. So big shout out to him.
Oh, that's clean.
Hopefully
man.
he's watching tonight.
Yeah,
he's really talented logo artist. Yeah, definitely hit him up. I don't know if he does logo stuff a lot, but he definitely did a great job on mine. So thank you.
He gets it. I like it.
Yeah. I just kind of had the idea. I was like, I want it to look like kind of like a circuit, but like have the mushrooms coming up, and then he just kind of pieced it all together. So really cool.
It's clean, dude. Super clean.
So yeah, Ryan McIntosh and I started MycoTek as a community. It's like a nonprofit community where we teach mycology and cultivation techniques, and that's what we're centered around. We still accept posts, showing off grows. There's nothing wrong with that. But kind of like Mycoholics, your group, we're doing a very similar thing. Like, we want to bring our A game to the table.
Yeah, man.
Teach these techniques.
Yes. Yeah.
Teach these techs to especially the new people coming in, and we just want to help people out. That's basically what the whole group is about. So
I love it.
Yeah. Some of our admins and moderators on the team, great people. We got Gumbo Slinger. He's like, dude, I look up to that guy. He's like an admin for every group. He knows his shit. So if you have a question about exotics, I don't have a lot of experience with exotics. Gumbo is the guy to talk to. Of course, everyone knows James Cruz. James Cruz is the man. So, and the whole him and Michael Montgomery are the creators, basically, of the entire 𝐥𝐤𝐬 genetic line. So, and I'm a big thank you to them for just like allowing us to have these genetics and do this grow along. I think I just spoiled the surprise. I didn't mention the grow along until this.
That's perfect. For those of you not keeping up, there it is.
We are doing a 𝐥𝐤𝐬 grow along. So we're going to be doing 3 swab packs in a bundle for $10. So if you guys want to hit us up for that, you can hit me up.
Hold on. Wait, what? Sorry, you didn't tell me prices before. Three sets of swabs for $10?
Yeah. So
it's a good.
Yeah, it's a good deal. I didn't want to do it for free, because then I'd have to run around and do all this stuff, and it would kind of be a pain in the butt just to do it for free. But I wanted to make it such a good price where it makes it worth my time, and it's a good deal for you guys too.
Yes, it's a great deal.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude, so that's fantastic. And let me just tell you guys, by the way, so when we did the mutant grow along, right, I had actually been planning to do a 𝐥𝐤𝐬𝐬 grow along with James. I think he is a really phenomenal, very important grower. I think 𝐥𝐤𝐬𝐬 is a very significant contribution, and he's done a lot of isolations off of Michael's original, pearly 𝐥𝐤𝐬s. So I just wanted to shine, let him shine a little bit. But then I just did the Mutant Master episode, and a lot of people were bugging me about why I'd never grown mutants. So it just, that got sidetracked. So amen. Thank you, Jesus. You guys are doing it. Now I don't have to feel guilty. It's all great. So here it is.
Nice. Dude, I need to get in on that mutant.
Love it.
Bro. I have the genetics. I just haven't started.
Well, now a couple people have. I mean, if nothing else, I think at least now, well over 100 people have these
Yes.
genetics now.
That's great.
They're spread a little bit farther and wider, and yeah, so hopefully over time, and things seem to be going pretty well. You know, there's some people are not. It's not going as well, but for the most part, I was saying it's going pretty well, and we're starting to see, you know, some really growth and all that. So can't wait to see how that turns out. So
So you and Stephen Kai spearheaded that, right? I'm pretty sure that was.
So I mean, so
Stephen.
I had Mickey on. He's an old friend,
Oh,
and
okay.
and then when I was getting that together, I think Dichotomous Keys told, or maybe James told, yeah, it must have been James, told me, oh well, you know, this guy Stefan, he just isolated a mutant of
Yeah.
Gates, of Lucid Gates. You should check out. So I reached out to Stefan. I said, hey dude, do you want in? Like, do you want to piggyback onto this? He stepped up to the plate, did a great job, delivered
Nice.
all his genetics to everybody. So now people got that going. And then a few people sort of piggybacked. Psilocybin also had Shipwreck going out. So yeah, there's like 6 genetics that various people are working in the grow along. So that's been great for that. I think that's the coolest thing you can do with these grow alongs. It isn't always just like, make me money, buddy. It's like there's some cool genetics, and it's cool to do a grow along, get a lot of people growing it at the same time. We also learn more by doing that.
Dude,
right?
it's been a pipe dream of mine. It's just to be able to to do something like this and to actually have people helping to stabilize certain, okay, so let's talk a little bit about this multi-spore grow along that we're doing.
Yes.
It's going to be Emerald Gates and a couple other ones. So I really wanted to focus on Emerald Gates because it is it's the first back cross since Pearly Gates. So Pearly Gates is True Albino Teacher crossed with OGPE or Homestead PE. And James back crossed that with OGPE again. So it kind of gave us more crazier, bigger bearded type fruits. And but Emerald Gates produces albinos pretty frequently from what I heard. So I think it's going to be really cool to have a bunch of people growing Emerald Gates and some other ones, because it's going to be a 3-pack of genetics, and just to see kind of what comes out of that. And kind of a pipe dream for me for a long time has been just having people really interested in this whole grow along thing, and we just isolate different things and maybe even like stabilize it as a community, certain characteristics that might pop up.
Yo,
who knows?
Yes. So you messaged me about this, saying this was kind of the goal, the aspiration. So we did this when Ed Grand just started going utterly and completely down the crossing rabbit hole and was just like crossing 18 things a day. He was just sending me packs of swabs. Like every 3 days I was getting another batch of stuff. And he's like, oh, just give them out to people. And I said, well, let's be smarter about this. Let's do something with this. Let's make a little channel in the Discord. And so we called it the Grand Design Project. And so people that were interested, that the only rule of participation was that you agreed to basically start working them when you got them. Like not that second, but you know, you didn't just put them in a tub and save them for 10 years. So people got them, started working them, and it's created a nice little subset of people that are really focused on it. So I think I probably sent out to well over 100 people. I think there are probably 5 or 8 guys that are really focused on working his stuff right now, and it's really, you know,
that's what we need, man. We need to focus in on certain crosses or whatever it is, and as a community, and then we can do a lot of really cool stuff if we work as a group.
You just had me thinking, and 100% on that. But something you said earlier had me thinking, like, I just envisioned where, let's say there's 1,000 guys on Facebook that are really serious cultivators. There's 1,000 or 2,000 people on Instagram. There's however many on Discord, although everybody on Discord is also on one of those other platforms. There's however many people on Reddit shroomery, and then there's those guys that they're not on none of that shit. They're too paranoid about the, you know, the man finding out what they're doing. So they're not on any of those groups.
Yeah.
If we had more people fallen in love with a given cultigen, because I think right now the culture is Pokemon. The culture's got to catch them all, got to grow everything. Oh, there's a new one. Oh, I got to grow that. Now this.
Everything under the sun.
Everything. Just grow everything once.
Too much.
It's just too much. Pick something you love, 1 or 2 cultigens, work it for a year. For a year. So I'll give you an example. My buddy Mushman 9000 from Canada, that's what he does. He just works and works and works and works stuff.
Dude, Mac Ready, he does it
Mac
too. He's
Ready,
like,
same thing.
yeah,
yes.
He's got the Mac down, bro. He's got
it. Oh, yes. Now, and he will reinforce what I'm saying here. So, Mushman sent me a Timbit, right? Everybody's grown Timbit. I grew it before. It was fine. It was cool. It wasn't my favorite DC Mac isolation. But then I got this Timbit from Mushman. He's like, oh, try this. You're going to really like it. And on a plate, it was just, I could tell it was ready to punch me in the fucking face. It just looked ready to go.
How's the pin set on those from what you noticed and stuff?
It's the like fastest non-basic cube I've ever grown in my life.
You sent it to me actually, and you're like, you're gonna like that Timbit, and I still have it, and I haven't done anything.
I have gone back to spore on it 3 different times, and even the first T0 germinated plate grow is flawless. It's nice. It takes 2 or 3 cycles to get it back up to par with the clone that he sent me. That is years and years and years of working one thing over and over and over and over and over again so that it is really consistent. It is really vigorous. Bro, yeah. I'm telling you, I'm setting up right now to do this. I'm going to do a Golden Teacher versus Timbit just to see who's faster and how close it is if it's, you know, if one does win.
That's just good to know that it's fast. I like fast.
It is important to work a genetic, fall in love with something, get monogamous with a fucking mushroom, man, and really show it how much you love it and learn about it. A lot can come from that. So I'm saying all this to piggyback what you're saying, which is, so now we got a bunch of people growing some gates. We can start asking questions. We can start figuring some things out. Some people can try different ratios, different water, different tubs, different this. Some get light, some don't. Temp, different, like whatever. But you have a concentrated amount of people all growing the same thing.
Yeah.
Pheno hunting, trying different, you know, growing parameters, all this stuff. We can just be doing this for the rest of our lives. We can just keep honing.
This is the dream, bro.
Yes.
You're talking the dream right now. This is
the culture I am trying to move towards is more grow alongs, not just to sell. Like, for example, Toke came out. Toke is so fucking cool. Who doesn't want to grow Toke, right? But that was definitely driven from, I know once this is out, everybody's going to have it. So we got to make this a big event and we got to sell it. That's cool. I get it. Cause that was a really special cultigen, but for a lot of this stuff, there's still a lot to be learned. There's a lot of cool, you know, crosses coming out now. The amount of work for, I mean, fucking dichotomous keys and Ed.
Oh my God.
You can't keep up with the crosses, and all those need to be worked, right? Yep. They're at F1, F3, F4, whatever they're at. So like this whole culture of grow alongs is great. We need to have every Facebook group needs to always be doing a grow along at every given moment. Every Discord needs to be doing a grow along at every given moment because there's a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah. And dude, it's like just working on it. It's a no-brainer. It's like working on it, just me and a few people or hundreds of people doing the same thing. It's like you're just going to get places so much faster.
Right. And you're going to get to places you don't get doing it yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're just not. This is, Ed and I talked about this on an episode where it's like, okay, you got the fruit. All right, this fruit's amazing. This is beautiful. I'm going to swab, you know, let's say I get 10 swabs off of that fruit, right? And what am I going to do with that? I'm going to maybe germinate one of them, maybe two if I'm ambitious. Then I'm going to put them in a box, or maybe I'm going to give them out for free to somebody, some dude that just collects, you know, some of these teenage kids that collect spores for the day that one day they're going to take over the world with their spore swab collection. I don't know what the fuck these kids do with these things, but those kids, I know some of you guys are watching the show right now. Go grow some goddamn mushrooms is what I got to say to you guys. Not endorsing underage children growing mushrooms, but I'm also...
You guys need to go grow some mushrooms. Let's grow some mushrooms together. Come on.
Put up or shut up, guys. Like, this is not... Stop reading comic books. Anyway. That was my old man moment for the night right there. But yeah, there is so much work to be done, right?
Yep.
But so you get this cross. You do a cross. The first fruits from that cross produce all these spores. Let's say you got a whole tub full of fruit. You know, most of these tubs aren't going to look fantastic, but let's say you can get 100 swab sets off of them. Are you going to work all 200 swabs on 200 germination plates, grow all those out? No, you're not going to do that. You can't do that by yourself, but you can get 100 other people to do that.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. So then if you do that, the odds, same with how Brock and I were talking about, right? Like some of these people get big fruits. The more tubs you run, the more likely you are to find something cool or just have something work out in your favor. My buddy Barron was like, or instead of worrying about all your specifics on your weights for your MyCOTEK, just run 100 tubs and some will work and some won't, and don't overthink it, guys. This is how we find cool shit. This is how we find the next tat. This is how we find the next, you know, pearly gates, all these cool things, all the DC Mac Melmac isolation, that OG Melmac is crazy.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
Dude, this is how these things happen in a more accelerated fashion. And we're at the point now, right? We got an influx of growers. We got to give them something to do. This is how you get people involved. Guys like dichotomists out of, you know, you blink, where the fuck did this guy come from? Blink, where'd natural state mycology come from? And they're all doing crosses and they're all contributing. You got to give people something to do, right?
Yep.
You gotta have, there are going to be a lot of people who want to get serious about this. And if we can develop our culture better, right? More grow alongs, more group science projects. These are all good
group
things.
Activities, man.
Yes.
We need more room for activities.
Yeah. 100%. Here we go. Bruce the Shroom. We need some homework assignments. Yes. 100%.
Hey, Bruce.
Yes. That's what we're working on. That's what we're working on. Homework assignments. Just don't give those homework assignments to my children or none of them will get done. Don't get me
so yeah, this is why we wanted to do this Emerald Gates grow along, just because it's just a tribute to the Gates genetic line, and I think that a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Gates are just fun to grow, man. They're beautiful. Lucid Gates, Emerald Gates, albino Emerald Gates. It's so fun.
It's a great line. It's a great genetic line for sure. If you
I'm pretty much obsessed with it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, so I'm going to tell you, for me, so I was like, okay, I got to do something for my Patreon supporters this Christmas. I'm going to give away some genetics. I'm going to send everybody a little Christmas card. And top of my list, I went to James. I said, all right, you got to sell me a bunch of swabs because I want a lot of people who haven't grown your stuff to grow your stuff. This is just some cool stuff. So yeah, we did that, and people digging it, people growing it. I know dichotomists also love.
Oh, dude, he's been crossing every. Dude, he's. Yeah. I forgot to mention dichotomist earlier, man. He's. Awesome. Yeah. He's doing all crosses.
He's doing the work. He is doing the work. He's
showing up to class. Yeah, and he even shows you how, just like Ed has been, he's showing you how to
Yeah.
do all these grab and drag techniques and
Yep.
stuff right in the group that you can learn for free. So definitely check it out.
What's up? Yeah, people. So the thing I'm realizing, because man, it doesn't matter how many of these podcasts I do. It doesn't matter how many times I tell people, go watch this channel, go watch that channel. There are questions people still have. So whether, and I've had a bunch of people who are like, dude, you need to do like, you got to have like a special tier on your Patreon so that people can like hire you to mentor them and all that. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, but also there are groups you can, step one is just join a group. There are people who will help you out. Step one, do that. Like if
Yep.
you just connect with the people in a group that you like, and people will, if we're all looking for the person who wants to actually learn this, and we're willing to help out those kind of people. So that's all you got to do. Do that.
Oh, yeah.
Get in MycoTek, get in the genetic house. If
Yep,
you got
that's where it
screwed
all
over,
starts.
if you got screwed over by a scammer, get in
Oh, yeah.
Brock's new group, which I was totally hating on when you first started it. I was like, you can't keep up with all this.
You really can't. It's more of a, like, I've had to talk to some of our admins a couple times. Like, you're never gonna catch them all.
Yeah.
It's not Pokemon.
You are not.
It's just, we might as well just have fun with it and just post the scammers that are in there. Post some funny memes if you have some stuff, like scammer related funny stuff. But it's not like a super serious, like.
I'm waiting for, when you go to the post office, well, maybe not anymore, but it used to be my favorite thing about going to the post office was getting to see the FBI top 10 most wanted list, right? I keep thinking you guys are going to have like a top 10 because some of these guys keep coming back.
Yeah.
Right. They keep coming back. They're
well, we encourage people, like, even if they've already been posted before, if you want to post a known scammer again, you can always do that. There's no limit on how many times you can post a known scammer. The group is basically just there to raise awareness that there are people in the community who are doing that. And
yeah, I think that's
kind of get them
what
out.
I figured out eventually was like, okay, here's the real service this is offering, is it's making people aware of the practices of these people, because you see the post and then you learn the scam, like and what is the
lingo and like how they approach you and like all that stuff.
Yep.
They're always trying to sell something.
Yes. My newest theory is you can tell a scammer by the number of times they say bro in one sentence. It's like 3 or more, guaranteed scammer, bro. Yes, guaranteed.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, so that's a real service because, for people like you, me, and a bunch of people that watch the show, they hop in your DMs and it's just comical, and some of us, we love to screw with them and all that stuff, but other people are getting absolutely taken by these people.
Yep.
It's not cool. And then
not
they
cool,
hang out
man.
in your
and they're
Facebook
using our
group.
photos, bro. They're using your logo, my logo. They're using our logos and our names and our watermarks and selling nothing. They're just scamming people.
I just had one that really impressed me. Somebody was doxing this guy, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, but this guy actually ordered a sterilizer from me. I delivered it to this guy. And they're like, no, dude, but you don't get, this guy is a total scam artist. And I was like, well, what are they doing? So here's what they did. They bought a sterilizer from me so that their scam would be better. Because what they do then is say, hey, man, I bought the sterilizer from Geeky. I'm not going to use it. I'll sell it to you for $75.
Oh.
And he shows them a picture of the receipt and the box and everything. And then they go, oh, yeah, he's really got it. Oh, cool. And then I don't know if he's gotten anybody yet, but that's the scam.
He just does that to like 20 people or 30
Yeah, and he
people,
takes your $75 and he just doesn't ever send you the sterilizer. So I'm like, wow, man, that's a committed con artist right there. He was at least willing. Now I'm like, dude, I wasted 4 hours of my life to build this freaking sterilizer for this guy that's just trying to scam people, fuck that guy. And if you're listening, bro, fuck you, dude. Come to my fucking house. Give me the sterilizer back. I'll give you your $215 back, and I'll follow you fucking home.
Yeah, it's
waste of time.
Dude, I recently had this one guy, and he stole my logo, and he made a Telegram channel. And
Oh,
I can't
that's
remember
what
how
they
I
do, man. Yeah.
can't remember how I found out, and I messaged him, and I basically just said, I just wanted to message you to tell you your POS for stealing this and peddling your scamming ass all over Telegram with my stuff. And he's like, well, he's like, I'm just a poor guy from I can't remember where he said.
That's what they say. I've done that to two of them, and it's the
he's
same.
like, yes, I am.
I'm just
scamming.
trying to feed my family, buddy.
Or like, my mom is sick, and it's like, you can't think of like a better way to provide for your family than to scam people. It's like, I get it. It's like times are hard over there for people, but it's like there's more productive ways to get ahead in life. You know?
Yeah, like Oprah says,
Sad.
when you know better, you do better. So I just go,
Yeah.
man, these guys didn't probably have a good upbringing, didn't have any role models, don't come from much. And so this works for them. This is what they're going to keep doing. They are never going to stop. Doesn't matter how many pep talks we try to give them or, tell them they're pieces of shit. They're not going to stop. So your group is great because it's showing people how they work.
Yeah. Yep.
That's great.
That's the goal. It's just to raise awareness. That's pretty much it. You can't catch them all. So.
Yeah. But you can, some of these really bad ones, you gotta talk about them. You gotta
blast them a little bit.
You gotta do something. Yeah. All right, man. So you're a tub guy. I don't see any bags back there.
I do not grow fruit out of any bags yet. I have had a few people talking to me about doing it, and I think that it's a cool idea, and I'm not opposed to doing it. But I'm a little bit limited on space, if you couldn't tell.
Sure.
I got the hoods right here, fruits right here. Some people would be like, why are you fruiting in your lab area? And it's like,
I don't have a choice.
I don't have the space. And this works for me. So this is basically just how I have it run.
Yeah.
If I did do bags, I'd probably just run a couple of them just to see how they worked and what the yield is for the amount of space that they take up. Yeah.
Yield's pretty good. Tub's definitely a better yielder, especially if you're a one and doneer.
That's
first
pretty
flush.
much how I roll.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're gonna like bags more. And once you're dialed and how to grow fruit,
Dude,
I
I already bought all the tubs. It's like, I feel like a bunch of money on tubs. Why go to bags if I already have all this?
Exactly. Yeah, man, I've been growing in bags for a long time now, but I'm starting to feel like there are things I want to do that I feel I can do better in tubs. Smaller tubs, but still tubs. Yeah, so I might be making the move back. I'll go back.
Tubs are great, man. I love tubs. It's nice just to be able to like rinse them out. Dude, I don't even do like a crazy like wash with soap and all that. I have a hose outside. I spray that shit. Just get it all on the ground, and I let them sit and vent for like a day. I bring them back into the lab, and then I wipe them down with the little Clorox wipes. That's it. And it's like it's not like a huge thing that I have to do. It's still kind of a pain in the ass sometimes if you have to like, I gotta dump these cakes, and like now you have a bag full of cakes. And, I'm trying to find somebody who wants spent substrate so I can get rid of it. At a better place.
Yeah, mine just goes in my ravine in my backyard. I just chuck it.
Well, the lady of the house here, she won't let me dump it there because she's like, the dogs and the chickens are gonna try to get the colonized grain, and they're gonna get stoned or whatever. I don't even know. I'm just like, the chickens aren't gonna get in there and eat.
But didn't she watch one of the recent episodes with the HPLC scientists where she should know that the oxygenation is gonna kill all the psilocin anyway? She doesn't have anything to worry about.
her eyes would just glaze over.
Just be like, honey, didn't you watch the 3 episodes back where they covered all this? This is
I think
not
I'm
a
going to tell
problem.
her again. I'm just going to be like, hey, the dogs aren't going to get into the substrate. It's not going to harm anything. If anything, it's actually good for the environment here because it's,
And also,
hopefully.
let's just go ahead and, address the elephant in the room. If it's good for us, wouldn't it also be good for them?
Yeah.
Right? Come on, Miss Lee. Let him throw his cakes in the backyard for the love of God. Yes.
Miss Lee, that's funny.
Raise beds. Just do some raised bed gardening in the back. I wonder
Dude,
what
I
your
would
tomatoes
love
would
to
taste
do
like.
outdoor beds, bro. I would love to. I can't where I'm at, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I am a little bit up the mountain, so it's like it's a okay spot, but it's not quite wet enough. And we are going into summertime, which is actually rainy season, but I just don't know. Something I want to do in the future, though.
Yeah, man. So I'm pretty much gonna pull the trigger on doing one of these tunnel tent grows like Mac Reddy's doing. I'm hopefully gonna travel up to see him and really see what it's all about and maybe do an episode or something like that up there. But then it gets real. Then you're like, okay, I'm gonna have a little greenhouse tunnel in my backyard, and I got 5 or 6 neighbors. And
Is it just open-ended? The tunnel tents, they're open-ended on both sides, and the air
so he
just goes through.
does a little open-ended tunnel tent. He said he's got he puts the ultrafine mist irrigation misters, like almost like propagation misters, so it's like the ultrafine mist just running 24/7. So open-ended, air freely can move through there, but constant mist. And yeah, I guess he dialed in the number of nozzles or whatever, so it doesn't ever get too soupy in there, but it's just always hydrated or always humid in there.
I'm guessing that's how he's running his max. I notice he has a lot of bags that are kind of like.
That's how he was doing his zaps. Maybe gnats. The gnats look. If I remember from his photos, they were just in a freaking field, and like he's not in the south either. Like.
Did I say gnats? I meant to say Mac. No,
so a lot of the Macs you see, like him holding a picture of fruit outside.
The giant Macs, dude.
A lot of those are grown inside, but no, he did have some pictures of some cubes, some gnats that were growing right in the ground. Yes.
Yeah.
And boy, that looks fun. Looks super fun. I would not mind getting some patches going. We're gonna see if I can pull it off. My buddy Happy High Face, he's working on that too. So we'll hopefully do some content about that. We're thinking the next grow along might be in the spring. We might do like an outdoor grow along for people who want to try.
That would be cool.
Outdoor beds. Yep. We'll get all the guys. We'll get 𝐥𝐤𝐬 on. We'll get some of those European dudes that got a lot figured out. Get them on the show, talking about the different techs, try to come up with approaches for different climates. Yeah, that would be fun, right? Yeah, growing them outside where they belong.
There's a lot of good places out here. I wish I was closer to the mountain. It's cooler, more misty down here. I'd have to. So on this thing that you're talking about, you would probably have like just outdoor beds, just plain beds, or have some extra stuff up out there, would you say?
Oh, I mean, I think they would be raised. Yeah, I think
raised beds.
Okay. It'd be raised bed. It would be and then what he was saying he did for his zaps is they colonize indoors. He colonizes the cakes or the tubs indoors and then cuts them off and then brings them outside into that environment.
That's a smart idea.
The cake is fine, right? The problems with them has been getting the proper humidity plus the air exchange, right? So that's why he did it the way he did. And he had, still today, I've never seen cultivated zaps look more like wild grown zaps than those, even though they were in cakes. He might be where he's at. It might be too warm or too cool for it to be like in the ground. I don't know. I could be wrong. Well, if I'm wrong, he'll tell me tomorrow. We'll find out. But yeah, a lot of those were for the zaps. They were in little XLSA bag bottoms.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
he grew gnats in the ground. He grew cubes in the ground. So like even though these things are subtropical during the summer, right? In most
Yeah.
places, it's definitely warm enough to do that there. You just got to get the
Yeah.
humidity somewhat right.
Yes.
All the projects to do, all right. It
So
just
many.
never ends. There's
So
so many
many.
projects. Yep.
Yeah, like right now I got tubs that I gotta do soon and more grain to make. It never ends. But I love it.
Yeah, man. Every time is I can always tell the real ones because right, and I'm not cooking grain every day, but every time I talk to somebody and they're like, "Is that your pressure cooker?" Of course, it's my pressure cooker, dude. What do you think? Like that thing's at least a couple days a week. That thing's gonna be running, and I'm not
Yeah.
even growing as much as other people.
Yeah.
Some people got that pressure cooker going every day, all day.
And I can't do it. I can do it. I run it about once a week.
Uh-huh.
I try to. I pack them as full as I can. So I'll do as many as I can at once. That way I don't have to do it every day.
Yep.
Dude, I sterilized for 3.5 hours. So
You what?
I'm sterilizing for 3.5 hours.
You're up to 3.5. Oh, I thought
Yeah,
I was.
for the
I do
soak and
3.
shake. Yeah, because
Oh,
I do
okay.
that soak and shake method where I use 65% water and I put it in the bags. I use 10T bags. I put the grain
Okay.
in there. I add the 65% water and
Okay.
I shake the bags up really good, get them all wet, and then it's like a 24-hour soak and shake. So you're shaking every 6 to 8 hours or so, and then I sterilize for 3.5. I started low and I worked my way up until I got to the results that I wanted. So 3.5 is pretty good. Pretty good now.
Yeah, man, that's a long time.
It's a long time. It's long.
Are you in 23 quart Prestos?
Yep. I run 2. I run 2 of them
Nice.
usually.
Yeah.
Got a double burner.
I've been doing 3 now. So really, you the 3.5?
Yeah, I've done 3 hours. I was doing that for a while, and it was okay. Like I was getting some bags that were successful, but I had a few that were failing. So then I was like, well, there's 2 things that I could look at. It's making sure they're properly hydrated, and I'm doing a thorough shake, which I was already. So I figured that probably wasn't the issue. So I just increased sterilization time by 30 minutes, and I figured find out. And so far, it's been working really good.
So now, are you running oats? What grain is that?
This is oats. Oh,
oats. Yeah.
I run I'm calling it the 24-hour easy soak and shake oat bags.
Nice. Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, in my experience, so I've run millet, oats, popcorn, wild bird seed, rye berries. I have not. I bought Milo when I first started growing, but I've never actually cooked Milo. But man, those oats, I love oats. Don't get me wrong. I think
awesome.
oats are
They're cheap.
fantastic.
They're so cheap.
And they're so cheap. I will say they have more endospores, more contam, more issues. It might just be oats need 3.5. And that might be a great pro tip right there for people who maybe loved oats but got off them because they thought their contam rate was so high.
Dude, I've had people tell me that they do 2.5 and they're fine. I'm just like, okay, if it works for you, that's all that matters. If it works for you,
I talked to a guy the other day saying he was doing 90 minutes, and I said, it's working?
For no prep, 90 minutes.
Said it works. Okay, cool, man. I'm trying.
I don't know. Millet, maybe. I don't know. I love millet.
I don't even care. I don't got time anymore to worry. Like, if you say it works, I don't need to disagree with you anymore. I don't.
Yeah,
great.
I don't argue.
Awesome.
Yeah, if it works, if a lower time works for you, that's the main thing.
Exactly.
I tell people 3.5 because that's just what I use, but I would also recommend that you try a lower time to start out with to just see if that works for you. And if not, you can always
Yep.
increase the time.
Yeah, and again, it's also by grain. Some
Yeah.
some grain needs less, some grain needs a little bit more. I'm not surprised you said I run oats when you said you cook for 3.5, because I was like, that would be the one that I would say might need a little
Dude,
bit.
I've tried the same method though with like rye berry. It did not want to work, bro. Did not want to work. So thankfully,
meaning your tech.
yeah, this tech, yeah. So
yeah.
Thankfully, oats are the most successful and affordable option where I live. So that's the main reason I use them. But I did buy the rye just to kind of see what I could do with it, and I'm just trying to develop the tech and make it applicable to like different grain types.
Right. Yes.
And millet so far works, and oats, but rye has not worked with it. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Nice.
That I've tried so far. Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, all I started doing on my no soak, no simmer, I wasn't a fan. I moved off it. I now like it again. I still run popcorn, but when I do oats or oats and millet, what I do now is I weigh out my dry, I put the water in, I shake it. So when I'm running oats or 50-50 oats millet, I have the silicone gaskets on the lids, right? So I can tighten them down and shake them. I don't lose any water. So I shake it up. Well, okay, so first I let them sit with the water in there for about a half hour, soaks up a lot of the water. Then I shake it, let it sit for another half hour, and then I pressure cook. And when I do that, they're not clumpy when I do the hot shake. And I've gotten it down to the gram of water that I use, dialed as fuck.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
Of course, if I go buy another bag of oats, that might all change. I might have to redial it in again. But yeah, sometimes it's funny how the littlest thing you could do, just that. First, somebody said, well, just let it sit in there and absorb some of the water before you pressure cook it. That helped. That also just helped packing it into the pressure cooker. But then the one little trick I came up with was shaking it beforehand. And
That's the
that
one,
made
bro. That's
all
the
the
one.
difference, dude. Yes.
It's just there's a couple major things. It's proper grain hydration, and you have endospore germination, which I think is really important.
Yep.
If you guys don't know, most of you guys know what endospore germination is and how it helps with sterilization. But basically, endospore is a bacterial spore, a dormant bacterial spore that is very heat resistant. So by germinating those, they become more susceptible because they germinate into bacteria, which are then killed by the heat. So in case nobody knew what that was. And then you also have, grain hydration, endospore germination, and just the next thing would be just sterile time. So you just got to get those three things, I think, dialed in, and you'll have sterile grains.
And you cook in what size bags did you say?
10T unicorn.
10T. Okay, nice.
Yeah. They hold about 3.5 pounds per bag.
Nice. Man, I'm still on these quart jars. I can't. Every once in a blue moon, maybe if I'm graining to grain in it, I will do some bags. But yeah, for the most part, I just love this is the one way that I'm like those guys that just don't want to come off something, because the jars work.
Dude, grain jars work great. They're very consistent. I had with the soak and shake method, I was having more success with jars, and then when I switched to bags, like I had to figure out what I was doing wrong
to make it work. Yeah.
So jars are a lot more user friendly, I think. Aside from you got to bang on the jars to mix up the spawn. That's kind of a pain, and then the washing.
Yeah, jars, man. All I got $30 piano bench off Amazon. It's got a nice little pad to it. It's my bench for where I build sterilizers, and I can just bang those jars endlessly on them, because I used to bang them on my wrists, and just after a while that does feel good. So
yeah, I was doing the wrist for a long time, and dude, it was like I felt like
Yeah.
Have you ever got like swelbo from like hitting your elbow? It felt like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like it was
It's
just like,
like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I forget who said it. I think can't remember who said it, but, yeah, just find something to bang them on, whether it's a piano bench, a little padded piano bench, whether it's like a rubber tire, you probably got something somewhere where you can bang it on it and that will help. Don't bang it against your hand. Too much work. But also why I love popcorn is it breaks up better.
Dude, I still have this. I was using this for a while, a rubber mallet.
Yep.
These work good. You can actually like put them on your lap or something and sit down and just kind of tap the jar on it. Or you can just.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't use that anymore, really.
Oh, but I got a cool little tidbit here from speaking of Gumbo Slinger. I stopped washing.
What's up, dude?
I stopped washing the jars unless they contaminated.
I was going to mention that. Yes, you can do that. You can do that. You did mention that the other day, I think, in the chat.
Why not?
Just leave them and they get sterilized anyway. So.
Yeah. Dude, that's
don't have to wash your jars
anymore.
Holy
crap, that's great. I mean, I just throw them in. It's a little bit. I got to rinse them out, but I get real hot water in my little utility sink by my washer and dryer, get them all, mostly rinsed. And then I just run them through the dishwasher. It's not too much extra work, but
I wish I had a dishwasher. I am the dishwasher. So.
You have a dishwasher.
I am the dishwasher.
You just are the dishwasher. Yeah. Oh man, I can't. Dishwasher and washer and dryer. I've lived the not having that lifestyle, and I'm too old now. I gotta have it. I would sacrifice many things to have that.
Dude, when I was finding a new place out here, I was like, it has to have a washer and dryer. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the laundromat runs. No.
100%.
No more.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, for the longest time, they also had, those dishwashers where you have to wheel it over to the sink and then connect it up to the faucet.
Oh, like a portable one?
Yeah, it's like a portable one. They had that, and they finally just spent, I don't know, 10 grand or something like that to get their kitchen redone. And so they sacrificed some storage space for the dishwasher. They now have the dishwasher.
That's definitely a plus. If you have jars, I mean, unless you're like Gumbo and you don't have to wash your jars.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much having a dishwasher for a human being is it's like the same as like having a flow hood for a mycologist. These are just like, at a certain point, they become necessity.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Yeah, man. All right, so we looked at everything. We have not talked about your Facebook groups maybe as much as I want to. So how about this? Shout out some new people from the MycoTek that are, good students. They're learning, they're doing some work. Do you got some MVPs you want to shout out? Yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot and have you like miss somebody.
Dude, like there's a lot of people in that group.
Okay.
I love everyone there. You guys
that
are
was
awesome.
The diplomatic response, Brock. I'm impressed.
Yes. The diplomatic.
Yes.
That's funny. Dude, there's too many people to name. And I feel like if you aren't already a member of MycoTek, just come check it out, make some new friends, man. Like you'll get to meet those people in the group that are really awesome and who just help out, and great people.
Yeah, I get people that'll be like, hey, how do I get a hold of this guest you had on? And I'm like, well, I've only said 400 times to read the links in the description. And then they go, oh, well, I did, but it says he's only on Facebook. Okay, so join Facebook. You want to talk to the guy? That's where he's at. Oh, but I don't like Facebook. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to solve all your adult problems? Like, that's where he's at. What do you want me to do? Go back to him and tell him he should be on what platform do you want me to tell him to be on?
Dude, it's so much work to have to like go into all these platforms and post, and it's just like, I can only handle one thing.
It's a lot.
So I'm just doing pretty much Facebook is where the community is. That's where all my stuff is going.
Yeah.
I have an Instagram, but it's not really that active.
Well, the good thing about Instagram is you don't have to be that active. You're, whatever pretty pictures you're going to post on Facebook, you just concurrently post that on Instagram or vice versa. You can set your Instagram up. It's easy.
But Instagram to me, it's just not that fun. It's not very. I feel like everyone is way more segregated on Instagram, and it's like you don't have the communities, which Meta is annoying. Definitely, don't get me wrong. They have their stupid.
Well, they own them both anyway now. It doesn't even matter. But.
Yeah. But it's just like.
I'll tell you what So I've met a lot of people on Instagram that have turned out to be good friends. But what I like about Instagram, for one, right, it's just, mushroom porn. It's just eye candy. You get to just see a bunch of cool fruits. People, you take some great photos. But what I like is I feel like for some reason I watch people grow as cultivators, and I can like see their trajectory. So as somebody who's like trying to find people for the show, I feel like I am more inclined to have people pop in my head based on my feed, because I'm like, for example, Natural State Mycology. I watched that guy, evolve and was like, this guy is getting good really fast. Sometimes you can just see that, I think, more readily on that platform, but they're just not even remotely the same. One is all about curating your page, right? Like, what's your style? Yeah, the aesthetic, your style, which is cool. That's all great, but it's just a different type of person.
When I really got into it, I was doing that a lot. It's kind of like on my Instagram, I was like, I wanted the blurple color, the blurple like kind of aesthetic.
Yeah, man, you like aesthetic. You're like one of the cleanest for sure.
But it's changed. It's changed a lot. I still do it. I still do it a little bit, as you can see in the back. I got the colored lights, but I've definitely toned it down a little bit on the aesthetic side, and I've been focused more on just like teaching and trying to just get better in my own cultivation practice. Focus more on like my shit.
So the other thing that Instagram, to go off of that, the problem with Instagram is it's a lot of wannabe, clout chasers or clout getters. It's about the traction of your page. It's about how many followers you have. And so there's a lot of a great example would be and hopefully I can have him on the show one day. We'll see. But that Fascinated by Fungi, it's not Dennis Walker, Gordon Walker. The whole way, the guy's got a PhD. He's a real scientist. He knows a lot about mushrooms. But like the whole way he got popular was because he was the guy that started tapping on mushrooms he found, right? Like,
that guy. Okay,
that guy,
yeah.
Right?
See,
so
I know that.
Look at my bolete. I just tap on it. So like he didn't get famous for being intelligent and knowing a lot about mushrooms. He got famous for being the first guy to give a mushroom a spanking. Right? To ASMR mushroom battery. Like it's so ridiculous. Or like some of these people, you're like, you're a cool person. You know a lot about mushrooms. I'd love to know more about that. But instead it ends up sometimes being a little shticky. So that can be the downside of it. But you gotta be on all of them, because some people are only on one, and I gotta meet those people. They might be good guests. You never know. So I'm on them all. But
that's a good point, though. It's like you build traction just for the most weirdest things you would never think that. Because it's like for me in the community, I feel like my contribution to the community is kind of like what built the audience that I have now, which I don't have at all on Instagram, because it's just not built for that. It's just a completely separate. We're kind of like our own little islands out there on Instagram. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And then it's also, I guess I actually learn more by paying attention to things on Instagram, right? Like I'll have some posts that I think are really neat, and then they get not many views, and then other posts get a lot of views. So sometimes I can kind of learn what people are interested in. by just the simple, like, not just the how many likes it gets, but how rapidly it gains traction. Whereas there's none of that really on Facebook. You can't pay attention to that quite as much. On Facebook, it's more about how much engagement does it get? Does it get a bunch of comments? Like, oh, okay, that must have been a good post. A lot of people, it generated discussion. But sometimes if you just say something stupid or controversial, you can get 1,000 comments on it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that was quality.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think every platform, right, they're all unique. They have different pluses and minuses. It's cool if people don't like one of them. I think Discord's probably honestly my favorite platform, but not everybody's on it. Whereas Ed and you and a lot of people make Facebook your home just because, you know, no cap, that shit is got a lot of people on it.
Yeah.
Everybody's on Facebook. And I think it's more inclined that people who are on Facebook, there are more people on Facebook who are not ever going over to Instagram, are not ever going over to Discord. Whereas the people on Discord, they all got IGs. They all, you know, maybe also have a Facebook. They don't use that often. But I think if you want to have an influence and be somebody and do something and contribute to the Myco community, I don't think you can not be on Facebook. I think it's a pretty significant portion.
Well, and Facebook, if you look at like demographics too, like more of the younger generation, I think, is on Instagram, and then we have more, you know, people our age, on Facebook, which is actually a good thing. I feel like. I mean, it seems like more people who grow mushrooms are more. They're not super young. They're usually like late 20s, 30s, 40s, and on. So
I think my biggest. So when I started doing this, it was all white men. There was like no women. It was 0.03% women. I think we're close to 10% women now. So that just shows it's, you know, it's broadening in its appeal. It's the demographic and the type of person, what people think of when they think of a cultivator is evolving and changing. Also, women don't fuck around, right? Like, women want to get shit done and figure shit out. You got moms for microdosing groups. You got myco mamas. You got ladies of mycology, right? As soon as they hear, oh, there's something better than a cup of coffee in the morning, right? They take action. They figure it out. I talk to a lot of women who are growing, and the husband, it's not on his radar yet. Even they're going like, hey, honey, I'm going to start growing mushrooms. Oh, cool. Okay. What's that for?
Some people, it just their eyes glaze over when you talk about mushrooms, but you can definitely tell.
Oh, you've met my wife. Yeah, man. She will go on a little forage. She thinks that's fun. She likes microdoses. She likes, you know, a museum dose and all that. But yeah, she like talking cultivation. Nope.
Getting down to the nitty gritty, not happening.
No, she missed the HPLC podcast. Yeah, did not catch.
Dude, that's why I'm so glad. Thank you for inviting me on, man. It's been like so cool to just be able to talk about mushrooms for a couple hours.
That's what I tell everybody. That's the best part about it, is just talking to people, right? Like you and I have talked off and on for years, but you know, getting to really just sit down and talk to somebody.
And people actually interested in hearing about it. It's cool.
Every time I get somebody that's really nervous, I say it's like when you're at a party and you and some other person are talking and having a really engaging conversation, and then like a few people gather around and they're just kind of, they don't got anything else to do, so they're just listening in on your conversation. It's like, that's kind of what we're doing here, right?
Yeah.
That's all we're doing. At no point did you ever go, oh, there's 220 people listening right now.
Oh, there are? Oh my goodness. Thank you guys
for watching. Right? But you don't think about that because it's just, we're just talking, right? You're in your lab. I'm in my basement, right? That's, you know, my kids are asleep. My wife is watching a Netflix show probably, right? It's just like a normal, it's nothing crazy. And then by tomorrow night, there will be 3,000 views on this episode. Right. So 3,000 people watch.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I can pretty much guarantee it. Awesome. So yeah, that's what's so great about all this is we're out there. A lot of people are growing and or growing an interest in growing mushrooms, and then they start watching these shows. I'm telling you, a lot of people. The education piece is huge. That's why
we're gonna
the
teach
stuff.
you guys how to grow some mushrooms.
Yes, that
Any new
is.
people coming in, that's the goal. We want to get you guys to be as successful as possible as quickly as possible.
Yeah, man. I say this all the time. My nightmare situation is somebody desperately needs something in their life, and they have convinced themselves I should give psilocybin a try. They come into the community, they struggle, they get sold crappy genetics, they get scammed, they get whatever, and then they bounce. And then, 6 months later, they kill themselves, or they're just depressed for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Then we're not a good community. We didn't do what we're supposed to do. We got to have quality vendors, quality educators, quality groups, because we have not even begun to see the influx that's about to happen.
I agree 100%.
We have no clue how big it's about to be. Like the good old days are over, guys. Stop fucking crying. Grow up. Focus on what this is all about anyway, which is just growing fruit.
Yeah, I feel like if we work together, we can kind of be the thing in the community that we feel is lacking. It could be a sense of connection with somebody else, like friendliness. Just be that change that you want to see.
Be the change that you want to see in the world. Or what is the other saying that I love? Oh, what is it? It's like, doing the same thing. Like you do the same thing over and over again, but then you think you're going to get a different outcome. I forget this quote. That's insanity.
Yep. It's the definition of insanity.
We can sit around and bitch about the community. Which, don't get me wrong, I love to complain about stuff, but I had some guy the other day make a comment on one of my episodes. He was like, "Oh, your intro is so AI driven, and it was so boring and sucked and da 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 da." And my comment was like, "Yo, bro, married, 3 kids, full-time job, wife works, grow mushrooms, build sterilizers, do a podcast, doing my best. You don't like it? Eat a dick. I don't care." Like, what do you want me to fucking do? Yeah. It's not perfect. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm a fucking guy in a basement.
Yeah, I mean, I just know how to grow mushrooms good.
Like,
that's
dude,
all,
relax.
all I do.
I'm sorry that I didn't write an Emmy-winning introduction to an underground podcast I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, how about you go do something? Then maybe you won't need to troll everybody all day, or learn how to say things politely and not come across like a jerk. Or maybe I just need to send you some medicine. I don't know. I was talking to somebody from LA who grows, and he was like, "Yeah, man, these days it's just feeling like a lot of people not taking their own medicine. A lot of people talking about the medicine, maybe not as many people taking the medicine."
To be honest, I should probably be on a regimen, which I'm not.
Well, but I mean, if not everybody needs to be on the medicine, but are you good? Oh, you just got a little glitchy there for a second. Yeah, I mean, not everybody.
You're back.
It's fine. I mean, dude, the other day I was at a restaurant. I overheard we were at like a little Easter brunch, celebrating a religion I don't believe in, but that's fine. It's all good. It's great. Jesus died for our sins. He rose again. I love it. So we're out eating brunch, right? A nice little tasty brunch. And I'm overhearing a conversation at the table next to me. And it's a family who is so well adjusted, so healthy, so untraumatized, so happy. And I'm just sitting there going, yeah, like I did not have that. Like it was like I was watching another species of organism existing. It was so foreign to me because I didn't have that kind of squeaky clean childhood for sure. So But so those people, like, I don't need to hard sell them on trying psilocybin. They probably don't fucking need it.
Yeah.
Well, some people do. So,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? Yeah. So some of those people maybe don't take enough medicine. I don't know. But I mean, I know people that are having a trip every other week. That's not me. I'm not doing that. I don't need that. But every once in a while.
I don't really do it. They're,
Yeah. So
I just love growing mushrooms, dude. I like growing them and seeing them and touching them and smacking them more than I actually like eating them. But I believe in the medicine. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man. My buddy Royce, he was in the chat earlier, and he was one of the first people to just really boldly say to me, I'm not gonna lie, man, like the medicine changed my life, but he's like the cultivation really, really keeps me where I need to be. Like the cultivation is the salvation. Like that's where it really happens.
It's a great teacher, man. It teaches you, to be responsible for just responsibility, and punctuation, attention to detail, like planning.
Yep.
Like so many things that kind of spills over into in your life,
Yep. Yeah, man, that's like, remember when they had home ec back in the day? I mean, we never had to do this, but I remember hearing about this. You'd have to like in home ec class, they'd give you an egg and you had to pretend it was a baby. It was your baby. So you had to take care of an egg for a week, carry it around with you everywhere. Right? Most people cracked their eggs. They broke their eggs. You broke the baby, whatever, but I see this all the time, whether it's learning how to take care of a house plant. If you've been in 12-step programs, you hear people share about this all the time about like, oh, I couldn't do anything. And then I got a plant and I figured out how to take care of that plant. Then I got a dog and I took care of that. And, 15 years later, I'm married. I have a family now. I finally learned how to give a fuck about something besides myself. And these mushrooms are little babies. They are,
dude. They're little babies.
Yeah, you got to do stuff to take care of them, and if you don't, right. That's a
big baby right there.
That's a big baby. Yes, that baby is beautiful, and like all babies, right? That looks good enough to eat. Why do we do that with babies? I'm going way off on a tangent here. We always like, don't we get weird with babies? Like we want to eat you. Oh, you're so good. Let me just eat you right up. Like, wow, do we really have an instinct to eat babies? What the fuck is up with that? Anyway, that's funny. Another super weird tangent. Anyway, well, dude, we've covered a lot. I'm loving your setup. You were probably one of the first people on Facebook to have an Instagram aesthetic where I was like, oh, this guy could teach the Instagram people a thing or two about, really making a shot look really fantastic.
Thanks, dude.
And then as I got to know you, I saw you helping people out, thinking about this, evolving, all that good stuff, which is everything I'm all about. Couldn't be more impressed. MycoTek, kind of being a bigger player in Genetic House, the anti-scammer network, and then now doing a grow along with the gate stuff. I think this is great. I think it's fantastic to see people, like-minded people, come together, work together, achieve some stuff. I'm all about it. So if people want to do the grow along, and get frickin' 3 gates genetics for $10, like
$10.
So do we just go in MycoTek? Do we go in Genetic House? How do we play
so
ball?
You can just message me directly. Right now I'm capping it off at 50. So I only have 50 bundles worth of swabs available right now for the grow along. But Stefan Kai and I have been working together, and he also has swabs. So once I run out, then I'll direct you guys to Stefan.
Awesome.
And Stefan will take care of you. and also James. So James, I'll pass you on to James too, because he has some Emerald Gate swabs and some other stuff. So
Perfect.
our bundles might be a little bit different, but they're all going to have Emerald Gates in there. So you guys.
Okay, so it'll be sort of like a Gates pack. The one guarantee is the albino emerald.
Yes, and so a lot of the other gates came from Emerald Gates.
Right. Yes. Right. All his other gates came from
Yeah.
Emerald Gates. Yeah.
So Emerald is kind of like, it's kind of the beginning after Pearly Gates. So
Right.
that's kind of why I wanted to do this, is just to have people see all the cool stuff that can come out of Emerald Gates. Because you might get some albinos, you might get some weirdos, So I think it's going to be a really cool thing.
And they're spores. So
yes, it's a multi-spore grow.
Yes, everybody gets to play with spores. That's great.
Yes.
Can't say enough about that process. Sure, in the beginning, these days, and there are people that live in, an apartment in New York City, and for whatever reason, they got to buy their all-in-one bags, they got to buy a liquid culture, and maybe that's as far as they can go. If you want to go further, spores absolutely is a part of your everyday growing cycle life.
It's the cornerstone of mycology and cultivation. It really is.
Everything we got only happens by doing that at some point in time. Even when you clone and isolate for traits, at some point in time to stabilize that, you have to go back to spore. To rejuvenate a genetic, you often have to go back to spore. You can't avoid this part of it if you are a serious cultivator. Yes.
Yes. The spores.
100%.
You need the spores, bro. We all need them.
Yes.
So, just you could message me on Facebook. I'm just gonna, from the first to the 50th person, I'm just gonna take orders like that. And
all right, guys, links are in the description. On your mark, get set, go.
Yeah, and we're gonna be you can post your grow along photos and videos in MycoTek or Genetic House. So
nice. Or both.
Or both. This whole thing is basically brought to you by Genetic House. So definitely be posting them in there. Cool. Thank you, James Cruz, for allowing me to host this thing. So I'm pretty stoked.
Well, dude, you said that that acting was so believable. I thought he was right in front of you when you said that. You were
He's probably watching, so
you were looking right in his eye. I love that.
So I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Fucking sincere. I love it. Yeah, man, that guy is great. That guy, he is a strong cup of coffee sometimes, but he only grows on you over time. I can tell you that.
I love Jay.
That's a good guy.
Yeah. Great people in our group. BC, Dichotomous Keys, Stephen Kai, Leroy McGibbons. We just added Bradley. I think you say his name, 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞. Awesome dude. He's one of the first people who kind of got me started, giving me some genetics. That's where I got my albino Mars isolation.
Okay, cool.
Was from him.
Nice.
And also his work with Ray Medici doing the 𝐸𝐴𝐸 project. I got some of my genetics from him.
Oh, nice.
Great guy, dude. He just sent them to me and was like, "Here you go, have fun."
Yep.
Tidaway Jack Frost came from him. It's like F1 generation. So I still have to play with that a little bit, but we got SP, Raider Myco, just to name a few of our mods and admins.
That's great.
So yeah, definitely get involved with this grow along, guys. I think it's going to be a really fun thing. It'll probably take I'm going to say about 5 days or 7 days for me to get everything out. Sure. I'm not as prepared as I probably should have been. I need to get some poster paper from the store and just like get the envelopes ready. But all the swabs are ready to go. I just got to get those addresses on there after I message you guys, and we'll get those sent out.
Sweet. And then you're going to put a stamp on it. You're going to lick the envelope, and there you go. Perfect. Cool, man. Well, okay, guys. So if you didn't do the mutant grow along, or if you're an overachiever and you're doing that and you haven't grown gates, I mean, dude, I'm telling you right now, guys, if you haven't grown any gates, you should. Just
You should.
you really should. It's really one of those must grow lineages.
Can we show them one of the LG tub again?
Yeah, let's
Wanted to
pull
show
that
them
up.
that. Like you're not always gonna get stuff that big, but yeah, like that is pretty common.
This
for
is pretty
gates.
common right here. Yeah, they bang.
Yeah.
They fill
Yep.
tubs. Yeah.
And you'll probably growing emerald gates. You could get some stuff that looks very similar to lucid gates, which is an albino, but you might get it as a pigmented version.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. So most of those
actually,
all
we
these
don't.
first ones. Yeah.
I wish I had a picture. Should have thought to do this, but yeah, the albino emerald gates will frequently, especially if you're starting from spore, they'll give you a lot to play with for sure. You get a lot of different. It's pretty consistent. I mean, every once in a while it just give you one thing, but it usually gives you a bunch of stuff to play with. I mean, keep in mind
something I recommend too, if you're gonna when you're germinating the spores, if you want to get the most genetic variability out of this grow along, what I would do is try to do as few transfers as possible. When you germinate those swabs, if you can, send that T0 plate or that germination plate to grain.
Bro, that should be like a law.
You should get some cool shit in there.
That should be a law. If your T0 plate doesn't contaminate, you should be forced at gunpoint to send that straight to grain. Yes.
Yeah, man.
If you don't, you are throwing away other
potentially
options.
like really crazy, awesome looking stuff. So
and by sending all that too, then you're colonizing the grain jar or the grain bag with all those different dicaryons. They're competing. They're doing a lot of important things in that bag. Then when you spawn to bulk, they're doing important things. And then every phenotype you get has fought a battle. It's more vigorous than if you've just isolated from the get-go, and then the first thing you sent is like a perfect monoculture. You could have isolated a shitty genetic from that just because you physically transferred and isolated it. I mean, it probably should be, assuming you know how to find strong mycelium, that probably wouldn't happen. But
dude, I've had a couple instances where I've isolated, I've transferred out from multispore, and I brought it to bulk sub, and it did not fruit at all.
Oh yeah. And you can.
And it was beautiful mycelium, and it was a Captain Ahab that I was working on.
Very important lesson. 100%.
All that time and effort. I should have just sent the early plates to grain.
Yeah, that's that again. That is that agar game. That if what you're selling is plates with agar in them with mycelium growing on top of them, the game then is to make that mycelium look as pretty as possible, regardless of what it actually grows. Anybody that cares about this and cares about the fruit will say, I don't, and this is like form over function, right? Like, I don't care how pretty it is. If I can't sit on the chair and it's not comfortable, you failed, right? That's a bad chair. Same thing with this. I don't care how pretty it looks on the plate. If it doesn't make great fruit
or a good pin set, or like, and it's like, yield is no good. Waste of
time. 100%, man. All right, dude.
So might as well send a T0 plate, moral of the story, and just isolate by cloning the fruit that you'd like from that.
I love it. That's absolutely the moral of the story there. So yes, and then, then once, that's only the beginning. So then people that are really into this, people who, you got 50 people growing it out, let's say 20 of them fall madly in love with this stuff, and they go, oh, I get why everybody likes this now. Now you can start, cloning and working and growing your 5 isolations out, seeing what those do. And then now you guys are in basically, a small growers group that's going to do some work and hopefully contribute to what we do.
Yes, sir. That's the goal. That's the dream, man.
Yep.
I hope this grow along really helps us get to that level.
Bro, you're
Be
gonna
awesome.
be. I wouldn't be surprised if you're already sold out now, but you'll
I'm like worried to check my inbox. I'm like,
you
oh,
will
God.
definitely be sold out by the morning, or at least mid-afternoon. And trust me, all these people are ready to grow this stuff out, so it's gonna be a good time.
So yeah, guys, just give me some time. I will be checking messages soon and responding when I get some time, and I'll get the first 50 people that message me. I will respond. I might not be able to respond to everybody. I'm going to try my best. But yeah, just hurry.
You guys can just get on that waiting list. Well, then the other thing is when you go through your 50 and Stefan goes through however many he goes through, there's still people. Like if you really want to get in on this, I'm sure
we're going to have more. We're going to have more.
Yeah,
so it might just take a little bit of time for us to get, because I have to swab more fruits and stuff. So it could just take a little bit, but it'll happen.
All right, I love it. The 𝐥𝐤𝐬𝐬 wave is about to happen.
Yes.
And yes, Michael Mamas just said 100%. Yeah, of course we gotta have these people back on for.
Dude, that would be awesome.
Yes,
Thank you, Michael Mamas. That's a great idea to have people on showing.
We'll have the photo gallery. Everybody gets to show off their fruits. Oh yeah, we're. I mean, I would tell anybody out there doing grow-alongs right now, if you have a grow-along story from your Discord or your Facebook group or whatever like that, a grow-along that went extremely well, that'd be a great episode. Yeah, get at me. I'd love to show that off because I really believe this is kind of the next phase of where we need to go, which is we need more of these little tribes, these little group of people that get excited about a certain line of genetics and want to really work them. So, yes. All right, man. Well, the infamous Broccoli has come. He has shared some tips and tricks. We've gotten to know him, know what he's all about, and now you guys get a chance to get involved in a grow along. So, get in those DMs if you wanna participate and make it happen.
Yeah. And also just. Stay tuned. I'm going to be posting updates on the new water amounts that I've been adding to the grows and stuff. So
nice.
If you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, then I'll be
always.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody this who's doing stuff, I always just say, man, if you figured something out, if you got a little bit of news, if you got something going on, man, just tell me in a DM, and we can record a 5-minute segment. We can pull you on for an episode. Always love getting little things like that going on. Get a little more nightly news vibe going on here and let people know what's going on. So, yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, dude. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we will definitely do it again.
All right. You guys have a great evening. Much love, everyone.
All right. Take care, man.
Bye.
All right, guys. That was Broccoli. Had him back on. Took a minute. I think I asked him several times. He always had something going on. He was like, oh, not quite yet. Or, some people are really smart. They go, well, if I come on, I want to have something to say. And I didn't think it would take over a year, but that's okay. We got him. We finally got him on. He lab's looking great. He's doing all sorts of cool things. I think he's in a good zone right now. So if you guys want to participate in the grow along, just get in his DMs. It's all in the description below. You guys already know. If you guys are looking for another Facebook group to join, because let's be honest, you can never join too many, can you? If you need a good one, if you guys are sad or upset and mad because I didn't approve a post in Mycoholics Anonymous, it sounds like you guys should probably check out MycoTek. That might be the right spot for you. A lot of tech talk, a lot of cultivation practice talk, getting you up to speed and ready to, be at a different level. If you guys want to do the 𝐥𝐤𝐬𝐬 grow along here, then you kind of got to join the genetic house. So check that out. And, yeah, if you want to, if you're a very serious grower, advanced grower, and you're not here to show off fruit and you're not here to just ask, a basic question, you can join Mycoholics Anonymous. It is a 12-step program for people who have a real fucking problem. They cannot stop growing mushrooms. They think about all sorts of weird stuff all day long, all the time. It is definitely a place if you want to show off. You don't show off fruit picks. It's a place to show off your thoughtfulness. It's a place to show off that, oh, well, I had a question about something. I spent 2 weeks researching it, and here's a synopsis of what I figured out reading 19 research papers. It's a different kind of group. It is not for everybody, but there are those of you who know what I'm talking about, that might be the right group for you. If you're a woman and you like growing mushrooms and you want to talk to other women who grow mushrooms, you can join the Ladies of Mycology. There is a lot of cool groups out there. Feel free to give them a try. You never know what ones you're going to like until you get in there and check it out. So anyway, all right, guys. I had a great time talking to Brock. It's definitely one that's been on my list. I've been trying to make happen for a while. I'm glad we finally got him on. I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys all do with the grow along. And I really hope that I was making my point clear. There is a lot of work to be done for people who are serious about cultivating mushrooms. There is so much we don't know yet. If you look at what we've figured out in just the last 3 or 4 years, compared to the last 50 or 60 years that people have been cultivating mushrooms in the United States anyway, right? A lot of stuff's happening right now. This is the time to get, if you're serious about it, to find people to connect with, to ask good questions, to do some research, to just take that next step. Buy a microscope, learn how to use it, do some crosses, go on trips, do whatever you're going to do. But there are good people out there that you can connect with and you can grow with. You can learn more about this with. You can get mentored by. You can mentor. This is just the right time. And if nothing else, I hope you guys just go grow some mushrooms.